Stop doing that to him. Stop doing that.
He's deaf. He's deaf.
Right, he's dead. Right.
He's deaf.
Stop doing that to him.
What? Huh? Are you guys recording? Foreplay presented by Barstool Sports. We're in sort of a loopy mood, I would say.
It's been a long week
3
already.
days
It's
into
only
this
Wednesday.
Marathon of a week. We have a stacked show. We got Justin Rose, who just won the Pebble Beach AT&T. Dan sat down with him. They actually talked real golf. It's relevant. He's the most recent winner on
What a
tour.
get, actually, if you think about that.
Incredible get. Well done. When was the last time he had, first time in 3 or 4 years he'd won or something?
Over 4 years.
Over 4 years.
January 19. We get into it. We talk about he's got a kind of an interesting career path. Number one in the world. Leaves TaylorMade. Everything kind of goes to shit.
What was he doing? Hanma?
And then he left them like 6 months in and basically trashed the company.
Right.
It was such a, like, that was a bad look for that company.
I will say a company, that made me think, a company that's in that spot, it's actually really risky to sign someone like Justin Rose because if it doesn't pan out, you look horrible.
I mean, now it's like they're the butt of jokes.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Don't make a
Hanma. Ooh.
Yeah. So Dan sits down with Justin Rose, which, again, incredible get right after he wins. Banger after banger. That's where we're rolling. We're hitting you with John Rahm, who's been winning nonstop. We're hitting you with Justin Rose, who's been winning nonstop. And then we sit down for, an hour and a half with Nate Bargatze.
Yeah. Nate so we have this house here in Scottsdale. We got all the content people making stuff here. The Bustin' with the Boys were doing an interview yesterday down here. And now we just took the couch and Nate Bargatze walked into the house and we just sat with him for an hour and a half and just shot the shit. A true shoot the shit type of conversation. Yeah. There was no direction. There was a little bit of an interview in the middle, in the beginning.
Well, we try because it starts out with Frankie and I, because Riggs was finishing up the mini golf thing that hopefully a lot of people watched today. But Frankie and I just kind of sat down with them. When we sit down with somebody, we try to interview them. Usually it goes off the rails. I think we did a pretty good job up top.
Yeah, we really we all like Nate Bargatze. We've seen him multiple times.
Yeah.
And we saw him most recently shoot. He was doing his stand-up hour leading up to a special. So we got to see all the stuff that he was working on prior to taping his new special, which is out now on Amazon Prime. Go check out Hello World. He's just a fucking man. He's the definition of a guy that I think I could spend the rest of my life with. In a platonic relationship. I just want to know everything he's doing.
He's got the star quality.
Yeah, he does. He's got the delivery and his conversational stuff.
I just want to know what he's thinking about everything. You know what I mean?
Because there are parts, and you can see it. He's so effortlessly funny, and obviously if you watch his stand-up, you know, and he's curated that, and that has been jokes he's been working on forever. But even when we just throw topics at him, and you'll get a lot of it in the interview, but he just starts turning it. And it's so fun to watch him be just incredibly funny, and he's so good at it. So he's a joy every time we have him on the show.
So big thanks to Nate coming on and Justin Rose. So those are the main focus of the show. We're obviously here, Phoenix Open, the whole deal. It's been a hell of a week, and we're only halfway through with the mini golf tournament. Mini golf is not golf.
Well,
clearly.
No, I can confidently say that now because I played so poorly. And
we missed the cut.
We missed the cut.
Danny, Trent, and Frankie.
We missed the cut. So I would agree. Although I'm not good at real golf either, but I would say that mini golf is not real golf.
I would love to come here and chirp you guys, but I don't think that's anything to honestly be embarrassed. But mini golf's it's gimmicky. It's you bounce it off fucking bricks. I mean, yeah, you're putting and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's a I mean, we've seen Dave actually play golf, and he finished second in the whole thing. So it's like, it is what it is.
I got butt fucked during a lot of things during that round of
Get
golf.
3, genuinely. I was playing with you. Horrific breaks.
Shockingly bad breaks. Like the automatic hole-in-one hole where it's like you just got to putt it over a bridge. It went up the bridge and then just took a hard left and went out of bounds. Like, no, it didn't happen to one other person the entire day.
Well, the ball hitting the bottom of the cup.
That
one
was
hit
the
the
worst
bottom of
break
the cup
you
and
got.
popped out. Or what about the one on the top of the mushroom hole where it sat on the edge of the mushroom? It didn't come back down or go down towards the hole.
Couldn't do that. If you did that
The
100
tip
times,
of the
you couldn't do it
mushroom
again.
is the width of one dimple of the golf ball. It just
You
sat.
couldn't even set the ball there, probably.
No, it was very difficult.
It's like an inverted mushroom.
Inverted
I'm picturing
mushroom.
it.
People kept. Oh no, I'm sorry, not a mushroom. Volcano.
Okay, I was gonna say it's an
wow,
upside
it's
down
not
mushroom.
Two similar things.
All in all, Riggs played well. He was in the hunt. Awesome job by All Business Pete and Hank and the whole entire production crew, because we were there the day before, and Brendan was behind the scenes. We were there the day before, and it was a madhouse shit show. They didn't know how they were going to be able to put on a legitimate golf tournament that's fast paced, mini golf, you're getting from the tee to the hole within a second.
Yeah.
So it's like all these guys moving, and you want to move to the next hole. They did a great job. Interviews. I thought it was one of the better productions that we've ever done. I'm not even kidding.
I'm excited to watch it. I haven't watched it on
Dude,
YouTube.
it was amazing. Like,
It was awesome.
The leaderboard was changing, and like you saw when guys had big putts. It was really, really well done. So I wish I would have made it to the championship, but Riggs did make it to the final round.
It was fun. So Kurt came out in the final round and he was stumbling a little bit. He made a bunch of
He
bogeys.
started with what, a 4-stroke lead, or
He had a 3-shot lead on Hannah Cook, and he had a 5-shot lead on me and Dave.
Okay.
And he made a couple bogeys early. I made a couple birdies. So I think I had a bogey in there. So I think I got to 1 under at the turn, and he was like 3 under.
Yeah.
And no one else was better than 1 or 2 over. So it was kind of a 2-man race for a while. And then I blew up on 11, and he made like a 50-foot bomb after a bad putt for a 2. And from there on, it was pretty much a coronation. But it was fun being in the hunt. There's $15,000 free bet on the line that Dave Portnoy put on the line. So it was fun. Go watch it on YouTube. I'm going to watch the thing later tonight. And then I want to say I played golf with Dave Portnoy and his mom,
Yeah.
Mrs. Portnoy, who we know well from the cousins. We went and stayed with them in Boca Raton, Del Boca Vista.
We just ended up calling it Boca, but
Boca. We went and stayed with them for 3 days or so down in Florida.
I think it was
4
3 or
years
4
ago.
days. The
5
cousins
years ago.
retreat, man. What a time that was. So yeah, we love Linda.
So we got out, and you never know what to expect. We tell a lot of Dave Portnoy stories on this show. We talk about coming up through the school of Dave Portnoy, which is a pretty ruthless school of learning the internet, blogging until your fingers are bleeding, doing anything and everything to get the content, to get something out there that's relevant, that's going to get numbers, that's going to get, your name out there, Barstool's name out there, and all that. And so you never know really what you're going to get. Luckily, I haven't done the radio show with Dave for a while. I've been on some work trips with him. Frankie spent more time with him than probably anybody. When you do get Dave in certain situations that aren't like work and public related, there's a good chance you're going to get just normal Dave, who's fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. And yesterday he genuinely was just, I think, trying to get away from everything for 3 or 4 hours and spend time with his mom and a couple other folks on a golf course. And it was about as enjoyable of a time as you could have. We went with Josh Isner, who we talk about on the show probably way too much, and the Portnoys. And Dave, we get to the driving range, and Dave, he must have topped 11 drives in a row on the driving range. And I mean, topped, like barely made contact.
He's a funny driving range guy because like he's so fast. Like he grabs the club and immediately is swinging a 7-iron, and then he's immediately swinging a driver, and he only wants like 4 or 5 swings. And if he hits a couple good ones, he goes, "I'm ready." And it's like he hasn't played golf in a year.
And then, and that's exactly what he did. And then he was like topped like 11 in a row. Then he walked behind all of the caddies and the bags and took a couple things before he was over there muttering about his shoulder. He's like, I might not be able to play. It's my shoulder. Then he went out and played pretty fucking well.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, like, it's Shinnecock all over again. Like,
couple
he's
pars?
out there. He had a few we played 13 or 14 holes. And he had a couple pars. He actually drove it pretty well. A few holes where he was kind of in his pocket, but zero, like, stress, zero kind of like, oh, where should I drop? It literally just nobody cared. We were out there slapping around, telling stories. Josh is obviously a big Barstool fan. He's got a pirate dog tattoo on his bicep like a crazy person. So he was pumped to be out there with Dave, and it was just incredibly enjoyable. So yeah, had a great time yesterday playing golf out at Whisper Rock. And then I had a 40-minute drive back in the car to drop them off at the hotel with Dave and his mom, which again is a guy that's like, Dave's a pretty fucking intimidating guy with the aura and everything else. And we were just we were talking about Josh. We were talking about Penn. We were talking about Barstool and the live shows and what the hell they're going to talk about. So very, very fun day. You never know what it's going to be like playing golf with, Dave Portnoy and his mom. For
Never, ever.
3 or 4 hours.
I've met she's just like a really, really nice Jewish grandmother.
Yep, she is.
You know what I mean? I've met a bunch of them in my life, and she's a good one.
We also had a great moment where at the Whisper Rock's private, and if you get there, you can't get there before you're a member, right? Because they don't want, basically the reason for that is like if you invite guests, and they don't want a guest to come up 5 hours before, be like, I get to utilize all these practice facilities, whatever. So you can't really arrive on property before you're a member. So we got there like 10 or 15 minutes before Josh. So we just pulled over in this parking lot before, and we're just kind of and so it was just me and Dave's mom for a good, I guess, 15 minutes, just kind of chit-chatting about Dave a lot. And she was giving me such a heartfelt, like, isn't it crazy that he's just Dave Portnoy? And she was like, he was always very soft-spoken and pretty quiet. And she's like, she's like, he's not overly social, and he kind of just stuck to himself a lot, had his core group of friends, and he was always pretty funny in a quiet, kind of way, reserved way. And she's like, now he's just this boisterous, like
Right.
confrontational.
He's like the most bombastic man who has ever been on the internet.
So it was incredible to hear it from her vantage point.
That's got to be bizarre to watch that happen. Like we all, obviously Dave is Dave, but we've all kind of gone through in various degrees where you just become like this person of the internet, and that the Portnoys is that times 10 billion. So I can't imagine what that's like.
And she was, it was really sweet hearing from his mom's vantage point, like her look at Dave and Dave's rise and Barstool, and all of that. So it's just a very, very sweet day. I do have to say on the very first tee, as a guy that's not notoriously great with the driver in general, stand on the tee and it's like Josh pipes one down the middle and I step up and I hit like a low pathetic slice into like the right desert, and Dave just turned around and was like, we pay this guy for this? Like right to Josh.
Yeah.
And he's like, he plays every day. How is it that bad? And then I hit from there, actually, I say I striped it the next 3 holes or so, and he was totally cool. And it wasn't, because I was like, if it's going to be like this all day, I'm going to have the worst.
Yeah.
I'm going to like double every hole. He's going to be tweeting the whole time. And the only thing he tweeted was like fun day.
Yeah,
on the
great
course or
round.
something.
Yeah.
So I was like, thank God.
It's awesome.
But yeah, it was fun. It was a very good day out there.
From Bolt to Blazer, Equinox to Silverado, Chevy EVs are for everyone, everywhere. A few of Chevrolet's beloved and best-selling have become designed as electric vehicle models powered by Ultium for an all-electric future trend.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. We saw a couple of these Silverados, and they're beautiful.
We did, and I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it.
I'm just saying we've seen them.
Right.
We've seen them.
I think we've seen one that's been released. Yeah.
I don't think we're telling tales out of school here.
It's an amazing vehicle.
Dude,
that's all I know.
Everyone who we were around were like, well, I want one of these now.
Chevrolet has electric vehicles available right now. Buy now is the Bolt EV and the Bolt EUV, or reserve now is the Silverado EV.
The good thing is nowadays they've got these charge stations all over the country. They're popping up everywhere. They're going to be just like, you go to the gas station now, you're going to be going to these charging stations in the future. So just get ahead of the curve, get an electric vehicle, and get it from Chevy.
My current lease is up at the end of the month. I will be getting a Chevy. I'm going online. I'm looking at all the trims, all the details that you can add to your Chevy. They're affordable. You don't have to be rich to have an EV. With an established full-line brand like Chevy, they offer multiple EV vehicles with the volume, variety, and value customers all over the world have come to expect. So make sure you check out Chevy. EVs for everyone, everywhere, an amazing American brand.
Arizona's been popping this week.
Big
Weather's
time.
perfect.
Yeah.
Barstool Scottsdale is a great spot. If you're listening to this tonight, we've got like a golf themed party with the Cheat Codes is a
Cheat
EDM
Codes.
DJ group that I never had heard of, but I've heard a lot of their songs. I mean, I looked on their Spotify and they have 900 million downloads on one of their songs.
Well, Jeff D'Lo, who's a big EDM guy, he came to, where were we? Were we at the Saguaro Scramble? We probably saw him at the bar, and he was like, Cheat Codes. They're like a legit.
Yeah.
They draw huge crowds. They have a ton of downloads. So yeah, if you're in the area, come
Pretty
by.
crazy. Yeah, come to Barstool Scottsdale tonight. We'll be there right after the Dozen Live show. I mean, it's a really, really good time, and the fact that everything's here in Scottsdale, you can just tell there's a buzz. Like you drive by and like ESPN has a whole setup in Old Town, and then like Barstool has a huge setup here, and of course at the bar. It's cool. I like seeing the pop again. Like the juice is here right now.
And Waste Management feels massive. Just feels massive because it already felt massive, but you add the Super Bowl and you add the designated event. I mean, the winner makes $3.6 million this week. It's
Is that what it is?
So you were at the course, like the players are taking this as if it's like an elevated.
Yeah, last 2 days I was at the course. I went for this morning for a couple hours. Yeah, I was talking to Harris English about this. He was like, I think in a couple of years, this will be as big to win as the Players' Championship.
Wow.
It has the potential. I mean, there's nothing like it in golf. It has something that no other tournament has. And now with all the top players playing, like it feels big.
What is it that it has? 16 of
it just has like 5 times more fans than any other. Right. It's basically a festival. You know what I mean?
Right.
The vast majority of people who are there are not really there to watch the golf, which is a good thing.
Yeah, you kind of gotten the hard part out of the way in terms of like it's already a huge event, and like you're saying, when you add a designated event, then it's just now it could be as big as the Players.
Right. It's like what makes something a major, right? Like that's
It's the history, but then it has to start somewhere.
it has to start somewhere. It has to just feel well. It's the strength, right? It's got to be like it's got to draw the best players. It's got to have the juice.
It's got to have something.
Like the fucking juice has got to be
Well,
there.
they put so much
And-
money into majors. Like the grandstands are big, like we're saying. Like,
But this is like
right,
that.
This is
So
like
that's
that.
what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is like really, if you draw up the criteria, I'm not saying it's a major championship, but you draw up the criteria. It is now, and it wasn't like this. It felt like Arnold Palmer and the Bay Hill Invitational. It felt like the Memorial and Jack
Memorial
Nicklaus
was kind of the one that was below the players
were
for
the
a while.
biggest tournaments below the players, and Tiger Woods was a big part of that because it was like
Yep.
he
He
always
won all of
played
them.
in those and won them all the time.
Yeah.
And it was like these are kind of the handful of designated events before there were designated events, and now I think it's pretty clearly Players Championship and then Phoenix Open. Like I really do.
Yeah, I think, look, there are definitely like architectural guys who want to win at Riviera, right? Or,
Yep.
it definitely means something to win in front of Jack. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this tournament develops because I think this year, hopefully it's two studs coming down the stretch. Obviously, the Super Bowl is going to take a lot of eyeballs away, but this tournament has momentum that I would say no other non-major has.
Yeah, and if you went to an average sports fan, right, you said, "Oh, tell me something notable about the Genesis Open or Invitational."
No idea.
They would have nothing. I mean, tell me something notable about the Memorial Tournament. They would have nothing. If I said, "Tell me something notable about the Players Championship," they'd be like 17th hole. They would know it.
I've got
If you
four-
tell them, give me something notable about the Phoenix Open, they'd be like the craziness, the fans, the 16th hole chaos.
Throwing beers.
They would know it.
I've got a crew of 4 guy friends and 4 girlfriends who are not golf fans who are coming, and that would never happen for any other golf tournament.
No.
Right.
So
Yeah. And now you've got Rory and all the guys here.
Everyone.
Yeah, everyone's here that can possibly be here, basically. It's a huge week.
I'm excited.
Cool. It's a huge week. And now we got Justin Rose, which is on the show.
Well, also
Nate
we're gonna
Bargatze.
be at the Waste Management today, checking out for the first time our 2K characters. That's a
Yep.
fun little thing you'll see on tonight. You'll see on Twitter today. As you were listening to this, go check our socials. I'm sure at some point we'll have some. We're putting it all out in real time, right? Or is it going to be like an edited thing, like us finding out our 2K? Oh, that's just going to be out, right? Awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Very
It's-
cool.
It's a big week, big weekend. Were there a lot of fans there today, like for the
yeah.
practice round?
Oh yeah.
Today was the Pro-Am, right?
Today was the pro, and the guys were saying that it feels like a Saturday at another tournament.
Jesus.
Go get the merch. It's flying.
Oh yeah, we had a monster day today on Monday, and I don't know if this is still true, but on Monday we were the #1 selling brand in the
In the
entire merchandise
That
tent.
includes the Nikes, the Adidas, the
FootJoy,
Lululemon,
everything.
Peter
all
Millar.
those.
Peter Millar. I'm sure like we're right up there as the week goes on because we keep getting messages saying you wouldn't believe the numbers.
Shout out to people. Shout out to everybody that's buying it. That's awesome. This is what we need. This is what we're hoping for.
In the Pro-Am, so I walked a couple holes with the Roy McIlroy's group today where they're playing in the Pro-Am. And the amateur, he was playing with Larry Fitzgerald. And the amateur in his group was wearing a Barstool Waste Management shirt. It was awesome.
That's
It's great.
incredible.
Rory definitely was like,
We're gonna
"Whoa."
have to. Can we check like all the photo websites?
Yeah,
to see
Getty?
if there's Getty to see if there's like a video, a picture of fucking
Those
Rory
two guys
McIlroy
strolling.
just like finishing a swing and a guy just standing there in a Waste Management golf Barstool golf shirt.
We'd love to see that.
We'd love to see that.
I went by the new G4 Peter Millar stores that are in
Oh, yeah.
Scottsdale Quarter last night. I will say it was a star-studded event.
Was it really?
Dude, Michael Strahan was in there.
Holy shit!
Brian Urlacher was in there.
Yep.
A bunch of PGA Tour golfers were in there. Mike Commodore was in there.
Oh shit!
Obviously, Todd Martin, the Silver Fox, was in there.
Best.
Oh,
God, I can't wait
boy.
to see that guy.
Him and his wife, who's an angel, they were in there hanging. And it's, it's a store. So it's like it's pretty narrow walkways on each side. So it's like you almost couldn't you couldn't go anywhere without running into
Right.
somebody being like, holy shit, there's that person. So it was awesome in there. And then I saw Corey Lane, who's the drummer for Chris Lane, his brother. I saw him and he's like, oh yeah, we're trying to figure out where to do dinner. So I ended up doing dinner with Chris and Corey Lane last night.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
At Ocean Club. They had a fantastic time. And we sat down and we ordered drinks. And I hadn't seen him since, I think, the Wyndham Championship. We played in the Pro-Am together with Kiz. And as soon as we sit down, ordered our drinks came, and he puts his drink up. And he's like, fellas, we got fantastic food. We got fantastic cocktails. We got fantastic company. He goes, this is not for everybody, but this is for us. And he gave it to
Wow.
us.
That's awesome.
What?
It was.
What?
It was fantastic.
It's a moment.
You almost don't want to burn a speech like that. I guess if you just say that speech all the time, but That's a great one.
And then the rest of the night, like the great app or something would come, and he'd go, "It's not for everyone, Riggs."
That's very funny.
It was fantastic.
That's incredible.
It was fantastic.
We went to Hibachi last night in Scottsdale. What's up? Oh, you
No
found a
way.
picture of
That was
fucking
quick.
Rory McIlroy?
Bushman.
Holy shit.
Dude, I was solid on the first tee. I was fired up.
That's Larry Fitzroy and a dude just fucking rocking a Barstool Golf Waste Management shirt in the back.
And a waste management hat.
Yep.
It's color coordinated.
That is amazing.
That's
Look
incredible.
at Larry. What a stud.
Stud.
God damn.
We went to Hibachi last night, and the chef there, funny guy. What was the name of that place? Kyoto. I don't know what the chef's name was. Do we remember? No. He was he was right up my alley. He had a bunch of one-liner like dad jokes.
Yeah.
Like at one point threw like an egg at someone, and I was like, oh, and like they freaked out. And he's like, it was a fake egg. Yolk's on you.
Oh, that is your type of shit.
And then like he's cutting up the chicken. He goes, we call this a breast reduction.
Dan loved that.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And then he was like walking around with a little bit of oil, and he's like, "Let's call this Japanese pee-pee." And then like lit all our fucking tables, like our plates on fire. I was just like, everything he said, you kind of were just like, "What did you just say?" Like he would just get you. He would get you, and like you'd look up, and he'd kind of laugh at you. Everything was a bit. Like even when he would talk about the food, we were like waiting for a punchline.
Yeah.
He put the rice into like two, like he started with two circles, and you're like, those are boobs.
It's
And
like
then-
the boob joke is coming.
And then he did a big circle. I'm like, that's balls and a penis. And then he like morphed it into just Mickey Mouse. It was very like he was a showman, dude.
Wow.
He was a showman.
I
That's
know
what you're
you
looking for at
respect a
Hibachi.
good show.
Yeah.
I know
It
you
was-
respect a good show.
I feel like that's what you're looking for at Hibachi.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, 100%. Yeah, he had a good story too. He like worked at like all these other restaurants, and he's like, this place like lets me be myself. It was fucking nuts. He was very passionate. You got to go there and look for him. He had a little like a little piercing on his like under his eye. So I don't know his name, but he had a little piercing under his eye. That's the place at Kyoto. So go check it out.
What did I do last night? I got ice cream last night.
There you go.
What kind?
I got chocolate chip cookie dough.
From? Was it a special kind?
It was just at a Haagen-Dazs.
Oh, I like
Like a
Haagen-Dazs.
brick and mortar Haagen-Dazs.
They make good stuff outside of just the like their
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's their go-to? Is like the little ice cream, the hard ice cream
Bar.
sandwich bar.
Yeah,
It's like an ice
It
cream.
was right across. We went to this bar, and it was right across the street. And I left the bar. and I
Shane
was
Gillis was at the bar.
Shane Gillis was at the bar.
Nate Bargatze's on today's show.
Yeah.
Long show right now.
All right,
Oh yeah.
let's throw it to the interviews.
Right? Is it?
Yep,
Probably yeah.
yeah, long show.
All right.
We got Justin Rose, we got Nate Bargatze. So
See you at the
enjoy
Waste
that.
Management.
We'll see you at the we'll see you at the Phoenix Open Thursday and Friday. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit hard.
All right, we're joined by the latest winner on the PGA Tour, Justin Rose. You now have 11 wins on the PGA Tour and 11 wins on the European Tour, which is very satisfying. You really had to earn that one.
I had to wait for it. I know that. Yeah, listen, it was obviously a Monday finish. There was a lot going on at Pebble last week. It was that kind of, it's what everything Pebble, when you think about playing Pebble, you think, should I play Pebble? You know what's capable of it's being like with the weather and things. But we had an awesome time in the end, and it turned into that glorious sunshine on Monday morning, tapping in on 18, the waves hitting the wall, splashing up. I mean, it was like picture book how you would dream winning at Pebble. So honestly, it was worth the wait. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a wait. 4 years since your last win on the PGA Tour. It's got to feel like a huge weight off your shoulders. You've had an interesting career path because you got to number one in the world, you were a major champion, and then you have this gap. And when you look back, everyone seems to point at the equipment switch, when you were number one in the world. But when you look back at these last couple of years, how do you explain going from that? I mean, you were ruthlessly consistent for a good 2-year period, and then you have this big gap where your form dips a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, unbelievable question. If I was able to answer that question really well, I would have realized why I played so poorly, and I'd have changed it quicker. But you're right. There were a lot of things that just a lot of subtle little changes. And yeah, I mean, I would say you could lean into the equipment side of things for sure, and I would say that's probably there's a valid argument there. But the one thing I would kind of, my rebuttal there would be that I really wanted to use the Axis One putter. Like I was dead set that was going to help me be a better putter. And if I could be a better putter, my career might look exponentially different, because for 10 years I'd been a really great ball striker and I'd never really cracked the top 100 in putting. So I felt like if I could just move that part of my game forward, with all else being equal, like things could be really good for me. And so I kind of made a decision equipment wise to give me the latitude and leeway to be able to play the Axis One putter. But with that kind of came, the 10 club deal that I had with Honma, and they make really cool product, by the way. And I think I just wish that had played out a little bit better for them more than anything, because it ended up looking bad, I suppose. But I don't know quite what it was, because their stuff is pretty good, and I started hitting their driver, and I started hitting their driver really well. But then there was a period of time where maybe I went off the boil, and then the problem then was there wasn't enough. I guess there were too many variables in play, so I didn't know where to go. Do you know what I mean?
So it's like if you have it's paralysis of choice. There's like all these studies that say that, you're much happier if you go to like a supermarket, right? And there's 2 choices for toothpaste. You're like, oh, I got to choose one of these 2. But if there's 20 choices, then you get what's called paralysis of choice, and you don't know which way to go.
100%. So I think that there's some definite validity to that. But do you know what? Being a free agent is not that easy either. And I think paralysis by choice is, even more, prevalent when you don't have a club deal. And that's kind of the situation I've also been in. So, I've kind of played some pretty old equipment recently. I was back to the M2 until not long ago. I was back to my old P730 blades until not that long ago, until I went crazy and I walked into the Cobra truck on Tuesday and just said, hey guys, I got a hunch that there's something maybe a little bit more forgiving for me. Can you build me a combo set? And by the way, can you put a shaft in that's a little softer? And they were like, yeah, cool, let's do that. Hit them on Tuesday afternoon. And I was like, feel pretty good, and they went straight in the bag, and the rest is history. So equipment is a funny thing. Like it's hard to like point at it way back at 2018 and say it was the problem, or point at it now and say it was the solution. Do you know what I mean? There's a ton of variables, but sometimes you have a hunch as a player about what you need to feel and how to go about that. And I think last week was one of those weeks that it actually paid off.
I know that when you were number 1 in the world, and for a long time, Sean Foley was your coach. But I was talking to Mark Blackburn the other day, who said that he's been sort of working with you a little bit. Mark is obviously, hot in the streets right now with the work that he's done with Ches Reavie and with Max Homa. I mean, Max has blossomed into one of the best players in the world. So but I know that you and Sean have a really strong relationship that goes a lot beyond golf. So I'd imagine that was kind of a hard decision for you to make.
Yeah, that's been a super hard decision, really, and but an easy decision too, because Foles is my brother, really, and he always will be. And so from that point of view, I feel like I haven't lost him as a friend or as someone close to me. I'm just kind of doing a different direction with work. You know what I mean? So, and that's testament to Foles, not me. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes in that scenario, the player can make that same decision I just made, but it depends how the coach handles it as to whether you remain tight like that. So. Big respect to Sean. Like he's one of the greatest human beings out there. But, when I started working with Sean Foley, there were a couple guys that I really looked up to on tour in terms of how they hit the golf ball. And that was Hunter Mahan and Sean.
I was going to say Hunter Mahan was always, everyone wanted to swing it like Hunter Mahan. He ripped it so hard left. It looked like he could never hit a shot offline.
100%. I mean, he was an unbelievable golfer. And so I played with Sean O'Hare in the 2009 US Open at Bethpage. And Sean O'Hare's standing there, and he's holding his lag, and he's like stomping.
Like the Alex Noren move.
Yeah, but not so much left, but just like down onto his left leg, holding the lag. And then I'm making my practice swings like kind of like getting rid of the angle and trying to sweep it. And I'm like, dude, one of us has got this severely wrong. Right? And then I was in the 6th fairway, and I remember standing in the 6th fairway, and I sweeped it nicely, rehinged it. And I just pull hooked it into the left bunker. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's me who's got it wrong right now. So that afternoon, I missed the cut at the 2009 US Open. And I went and I tapped Sean on the shoulder and I said, hey, I'd love to have a chat. Do you think you might be able to help me? And then he put me on ice. He was like, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'll tell you what, give me a call next week and we'll have a discussion to see.
Knowing Sean, it was probably more like, you know, homie, I'm just like really booked up right now, dog. I'll get back to you in a bit.
I know he totally iced me for a week. And I was like, that was kind of like playing hard to get. It made me like even more keen. I'm like, oh, dude, this guy's like big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, listen, Sean and I had an unbelievable run. But so my point of the story is, like, Max Homa is kind of that guy now as well. You know, you look at the way Max is swinging, hitting it. You know, he's a pretty aspirational kind of guy. And obviously everyone's bodies are different. You can't swing it like another guy, but you can look at the work that someone does with that player and you can kind of see the results. And going, you know, talking about Mark Blackburn now, you can kind of see the success that he has with different guys, with different body shapes and totally different swings. And I feel like, you know, there's obviously there might be some common themes there, but there's not necessarily, he doesn't pigeonhole anybody into a particular style of swing. And I think that's obviously pretty impressive.
Sean was one of the early adopters of all of the stuff that's become really standard practice now with the force plates and with the TrackMan and all that stuff. So were you learning about that early on? Was that a process of, you know, that you took that information and helped you become number one?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I got that sort of mind where I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, but I feel like if you can measure it, then you can kind of know where you are. So, you know, but I like to delve into the detail a little bit. I'm pretty good at understanding like the technical side and the detail and the numbers and the specifics, but then being able to boil it down into the feel that you need to have to be able to go and play golf. You know, you can't play with, I'm trying to zero it out, but you can play with, well, if I keep my left arm down and I turn as hard as I can, that gets me to a zero. Like, you know, you got to kind of, so to matching the science with the art form, I think is something that I really enjoyed. And, you know, that's definitely the way that Sean and I approached it back in the day.
So the strokes gain figures from the tournament, from the AT&T, are a little bit misleading because I think they only have it at Pebble. So I was looking at your numbers and I don't know how accurate they are. I remember watching you at the 2019 US Open. I think you finished third and you were hitting it everywhere that week. That was one of the best short game displays with that rough. You remember that week, I'm sure.
I remember that week. Yeah, still hurts a little bit because, yeah, if I could have just been a tiny bit cleaner that week, I'd have like cruised that tournament, you know. But yeah.
But it was cleaner this time. That's what I was a long-winded way of asking. What was it like? Because the stats don't really tell the whole picture. Were you really pleased with how you were hitting it and your control of the ball?
Yeah, I think what I've seen in my game just the last, I don't know, well, let's just say since I started talking with Mark, you know, Blackburn, I would say like beginning to see one or two shots around that come out of the barrel really nice. And you're like, oh yeah, that felt like golf. That was proper. And then I would say very few shots that are destructive. You know, I might miss a fairway, might miss a green here or there, but nothing that's really hurting me. Nothing that's kind of like bleeding into the next shot and going, oh my goodness, like where did that come from? So I think that's kind of what I've been able to manage and play with. And then provided you have a decent short game week and you putt okay, you know, you're in business.
Not to get all parental, but when's the last time that me and you had the talk, Trent? You know that one. You know that 3-letter word that ends in X?
Where is this going?
Not that one, Trent. I'm talking about tux.
Oh,
dude.
a tux.
T-U-X. And when you need a tux, the best place to go and to get one is the Black Tux. The Black Tux makes it super easy to get an on-trend, top-quality, guaranteed-to-fit tux without ever leaving your house. Here's how it works. And I'm about to tell you something in my own life about this. Here's how it works. You take the Black Tux Fit Quiz. Pick the style that you want to rock, and boom, your tux is delivered to your door 10 days before the day you need it. That's plenty of time to try it on, make sure it fits you well. I've used the Black Tux before for my buddy Andrew's wedding. Prior to that, I went to some like mom and pop guy that was like had all these tuxes, and I got into a full-blown argument with him about what's trendy and what's fitting me and what like looks better. And he like didn't understand. He goes, well, I do all these tuxes for all these people. And then I looked like I was wearing a parachute that day at my buddy Nick's wedding. I go to Andrew's wedding. We went on the blacktux.com. It came to me. I looked like what I thought, like Cristiano Ronaldo. I looked,
James Bond.
I looked, yeah, but it was fitting. It looked European almost. You know what I mean? It was fucking. I was showing a lot of cufflinks off. I was showing off the cuffs on my wrist. I was showing off. I had a really good. I looked fit, and it was the black tux.
When you were arguing with the guy at the mom and pop place, were you trying to argue that you know what's trendy? Because in my position, I would have no idea what's trendy in that world.
I at one point he goes it's tight fitting, and I said, just look at me.
I look like MC Hammer.
It was insane. We had to throw, like, I didn't save one picture from the wedding. I was in the fucking wedding party. I don't even look back at the pictures. That's how bad the tux looked. So don't make that same mistake. Make sure you go to the black tux. I'm telling you right now, you will not regret it. And if it's not quite the right fit, say hello to the Black Tux Fit Guarantee. Order a better size within a day or two of receiving the original one, and they'll send another tux right away at no extra cost.
Look at that.
Rent or buy, the Black Tux is the best place to go when you need a tuxedo for a wedding or a special night. And right now, when you go to theblacktux.com/Fore, F-O-R-E, and use the code FORE, you'll save 10% on your order. That's theblacktux.com. TheBlacktux.com/Fore, code 4 to save 10%. Theblacktux.com/Fore, code 4.
You're back in the majors now, or you kind of you were close. I think your exemptions were close to running out, but winning obviously gets you into everything this year, which is huge. You're back up into the top 40 of the world. I'm just always curious, you've seen the mountaintop, you've been number one, and you've won 11 times on the PGA Tour and 11. I don't know why that brings me so much satisfaction, but I just love seeing those two 11s. But like, what motivates you at this age? I mean, are you trying to get back to world number one? Is that like, or are you more family oriented than you used to be? Like, what's your dynamic right in your golf life?
Yeah, there's a lot of dynamics that have shifted. I'm living back in England full time, and there's a lot of that decisions based around the family. My kids are 13 and 10, and we wanted them to go to school in the UK. So yeah, I mean, there's elements at play here which maybe aren't as ideal for golf, but I really feel they are manageable. And this process has been going on maybe a couple of years, and I feel like the dust has settled on that transition back home to the UK, and I really feel like I'm beginning to manage that really well and be super comfortable with it. So maybe that's a reason why I'm beginning to kind of like come out of a little bit of a funk as well. But getting back to number one in the world doesn't necessarily like drive my thinking. It's actually a little bit more humble than that, in the sense of I just want to be in the majors consistently, routinely. And I want to feel like if I turn up with my game and play like to the level I'm capable of playing, I want to know that I've got a chance to win that tournament, to win that major. Like, that's the level I want to operate at. And obviously to find that every single major championship, sure, that's probably not going to happen. But just to kind of give myself a few good looks at majors in the next 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years, whatever the time frame might be, where I still got it. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that kind of golden moment or two where I go, that's kind of really capped off my career nicely.
But it's interesting. So you're not expecting, and this is probably realistic, just given, your age and what stage of your life, you're not expecting to reach that sort of level of consistency as you did in sort of 17 through 19.
I mean, yeah, I think I can still play at that really consistent level. I think the consistency side is something you do have for sure. I would say that when you're looking at, just beating the very best in the world on a given week, that's going to be hard to do for anybody consistently. All I know is that I can do it, but that needs to be my level. I got to bring everything I got, in those scenarios to do that. And, and I think that's fair. Even to think that I have a chance, I think is a pretty big goal. Guys are good out there now, man. Honestly, like the standard's unreal.
I was going to ask you about that because you've been playing for so long, and you played against guys like David Toms, and now you're playing against guys like Cameron Young. You've seen the whole gambit. What's the most different about players today versus when you first came on the scene?
I would say like they're flat out now. They're flat out sort of zero. First hole of the tournament, the driver's out. They play pretty much attack mode from the word go. I think that's been the biggest change, to be honest with you. And the guys are like fit and healthy now. Like they really work at it. The gym is way more busy than it ever was. The athletic side of the game is obviously, I think, the science behind the game. People have a bigger understanding now of how to get those distance gains, where to, like the gym work that supports it, how to stay healthier, how to kind of absorb all the forces that go with hitting the ball hard. So I think that you're seeing sort of 5 or 6 or 10 players that are now capable of being the John Daly. Do you know what I mean? There's more guys in the field. So, if John was on a particular week on a particular golf course, he was going to be hard to beat. But there's 10 of those guys now on that particular golf course. So you definitely know that one of those 10 is going to play great that week. So no matter what, there's going to be somebody really, really hard to beat on a given week,
Yeah, there's more guys who have that like top level gear is what you're saying.
Yeah, there's more guys with the horsepower, that's for sure.
Where does that Sunday in 2012 Ryder Cup rank among your all-time golf days?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, that was honestly, that's the most fun I've ever had in terms of the winning feeling. Winning as an individual is unbelievable, and you take so much self-satisfaction in it, and you kind of like huddle with your team, and you're like, yeah, we did it, guys. We took on the world, and we did it. Like we beat them. But when you win as a team, oh my God, like the locker room mentality, like as a team sport, that's kind of what I've never really experienced. And sort of like, Ryder Cup is elite level, very top of the tree team sport. Like, there's probably, a Super Bowl, obviously this weekend, that's probably the biggest sporting event, that there might be. But globally, got to say Ryder Cup is up there, with who follows it and TV audience, and to be a part of that kind of cauldron was unreal. And, listen, there's no doubt about it. We were getting our ass kicked for 2.5 days, 2 and 3 quarters.
Flipped it on Saturday afternoon, right?
Saturday afternoon. Sorry. Yes. I'm thinking. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean,
3-day competition. So the first day and
first day and 3/4. First day and 3/4, we were getting absolutely like wiped. The crowd were brutal. We were getting like, you're walking green to tee, and you're just like, oh, I was thinking to myself, honestly, like I've spent 14 weeks away from my family, because I was pretty happy playing the PGA Tour. But back then you had to play 7 events on the European Tour to qualify to be a European Tour member. So over a 2-year qualification period, that's 14 events you had to play in Europe to be just eligible for the Ryder Cup.
Right, that's when Paul Casey didn't do it, right? And he wasn't eligible for a bit there?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, I've spent 14 weeks away from my family, like just to be a part of this event, and all I'm getting is screamed at, abused, and basically being beaten like a drum by the other team. I'm like, this is not worth it. What is this? Ryder Cup is a racket. Like, no, no, I don't get it. No. And then Sunday happened, and I'm like, oh yeah, wow. The Ryder Cup is like the greatest experience, because previous to the 2012 one, I'd only ever played 08. And that was another away Ryder Cup where we were beaten convincingly.
Right. So this is your first taste of winning.
So this was my first taste of winning as a team. And I still, one of my overriding memories of it was all of the champagne was already in the US team room.
Oh, well, that's going to fire you guys up.
Yeah, but I don't think we saw it before. But I just remember after we'd won, it was being sheepishly like moved across. Like,
trying for nobody to see it.
Yeah, it was just like one of those things that you just caught and you remember, and you're just like, oh my, we've really pulled one out the bag here. It was a pretty special. It was the miracle at Medina, and actually, people often talk about Europe having this amazing dominating run in the Ryder Cup for a period of time. And I think if you look at it from maybe, I don't know when it goes from, maybe 04. I think we won a Ryder Cup in the US. And then we won obviously at home. But really, the 04 was the skewing one. So if you go from 06 all the way till now, every Ryder Cup has been won on home soil, except Medina. And if you just start with Europe winning one at home and ending on Europe winning one at home, and then you add in the Medina one, it looks like we've won like 7-3.
Right, but it's really only like once that they went into enemy territory. It's kind of
it's one Sunday that skewed the whole look of the Ryder Cup for a while.
That's a really interesting point. I'm looking at the roster of this team, and it's like all these guys, Luke Donald, Lee Westwood, Sergio Garcia, Martin Keimer, Ian Poulter, all of these guys have gone to Live Golf. And I think you were a natural, people thought that you were going to go because you fit that mold. You're part of that core of European players. You're 42 years old, I believe. Why'd you stay?
Honestly, pretty simple, really. I mean, the kind of the concept around, Premier Golf League, Live, whatever you want to call it, been around for a long time. So obviously I'd heard about it for a while, and there's a ton of attractive stuff about it. And if all the top players kind of got together and made the shift, it might have been something that was really, really cool. And I kind of liked that idea.
The idea of like the limited schedule and the team
aspect, and the team element and the franchise model and all the kind of glamour around all of that. But, you could never really get a straight answer of how real it was in that sense. And if that team element really meant anything to the fans, and if the franchises truly had any value, or, were there world ranking points, and what were the, so there was just a ton of unanswered questions. And at the end of the day, like, major championships were something that I couldn't pass up on. And until there were world ranking points, it was just like, for me, it was like a bit of a null and void type of situation where I guess I just couldn't walk away from the dream of winning a major championship, because, like you just said, my ranking got to the point where I'm relying upon good play to get into the majors. So, you take away access to world ranking points, and I wouldn't be in them. So that was something that I kind of couldn't shift away from.
It's funny what you mentioned about the team aspect, because they really do need that to take off in order for this to be a success. And it's difficult, because what's so great about the Ryder Cup is the teams play against each other. You got two guys from one team playing against two guys from the other team, and it's very, very easy. With the Live situation, what they had at least last year, and my understanding is moving forward, is going to be the same thing. It's like just kind of going on in the background. And so it's hard for fans to think of these as like teams that are playing against each other when it's really just another leaderboard.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, classic team sport is red versus blue and us versus them, and like let's get after it, eyeball to eyeball. But yeah, I hear you. And listen, I think the players who are on Live, they talk about the camaraderie amongst the team, and they talk about it really strongly. So that they're feeling it. But you're right, the fans have to buy in for it to to really go and kick off.
So no Phoenix for you this week. What was that decision like?
Listen, I mean, I just had to get home, hug and kiss the family. Do you know what I mean? I was always meant to be home this week. I was actually, funnily enough, Pebble was a bit of a late ad for me on the schedule side of things. I was meant to be home for 2 weeks, and just felt like, Pebble began to be a really good plan for me for a few different reasons. And, but it has cut my week home really short. I'm turning around and coming back to LA next week, but I did have to get home. Like I said, I've got a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a beautiful wife waiting for me at home. So, I've been on the road 4 weeks. I'm going to come back to LA, and then the family are going to come out to see me in Florida in my next week off. So I'm not continually doing the back and forth across the pond. You know what I mean? So it's not the greatest recipe for success, that.
Yeah, just one last question here. Your win has put you in a really good spot for making the Ryder Cup team. You winning early in a Ryder Cup year is big. How much of a goal is it for you to be in Rome?
Big goal for me. Definitely. Listen, sucker punch not getting into the team in last time around, Whistling Straits. I mean, they might have done me a favor, really, because it looked like a tough Ryder Cup. It was a pretty strong US team on home soil.
I was there. It was one-way traffic.
Yeah, it looked like one-way traffic. But I think what was tough for me was I wasn't playing well, but the harder part was obviously to not be picked. Your peers know that you're not playing well. And that's kind of was the shot in the arm of, like, I need to kind of do something about this. That doesn't feel good. Kind of hurt a little bit, to be fair. And but that's kind of a wonderful motivator. And listen, I've had plenty of adversity in my career, and kind of sometimes feel my most comfortable when my back's against the wall. I don't mind coming out swinging a little bit and having to work for it and fight for it and grind for it and get after it. So anyway, listen, perfect start to the season. Nice to be in the conversation now and just try to keep the foot down and play my way strongly onto the team.
I lied. I got one more question for you.
Let's do it.
I am a member of a golf course that I think holds a special place in your heart. Quaker Ridge Golf Club.
Yeah.
Tell our listeners what happened at Quaker Ridge Golf Club.
I actually turned up there. Walker Cup. I mean, I've actually
you were 17, and you
was the
looked. I looked
youngest.
at the picture. I looked at the picture a couple weeks ago. You look like you were about 12.
Right, exactly. I was baby-faced 17-year-old, that's for sure. 17 years old in 10 days. I remember it weirdly because I was the youngest ever Walker Cup player. And again, I was on the end of another absolute trouncing. So not the, my team record at this point, not looking too good on American soil, by the way. But yeah, I was paired with Gary Wolstenholme, who was the old vet on the GB&I team, and played a couple of the. I remember Jason Gore was in the team, and Joel Kribel was he was the stud of the.
He was
US
unbelievable
team.
in college. He was a great college player.
He was the man, and I actually got drawn again. I got paired against Joel in the singles, and I managed to beat him 3-2, I think, if memory serves me correctly. And he was not happy losing to that 12-year-old.
I can imagine why, but it probably makes a little bit more sense now with the 11 wins. Again, 11 wins on the PGA and 11 wins on the DP World Tour.
I like it.
Thanks.
I had 11 hole-in-ones till I knocked one in last week. Now I'm at 12, so I've ruined your symmetry there, bud.
Well, now you just got to win one more PGA Tour event and one more DP World Tour event.
I like what you think. You're a glass half full guy. I like it.
Oh, I can't go in reverse, right? We got to go forward.
Yeah, man. Good.
Well, thanks for joining us, Justin, and I'll see you next week in LA.
Perfect. Look forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Cool. See ya.
See you soon.
Barstool Sportsbook. Trent Daddy.
Oh, yeah.
One of the greatest things that have ever come into our lives. It makes everything just a little bit more intense and exciting. Watching sports has become so much fun, having a little bit of action on the game.
You're just more invested, yeah.
You really are. Barstool Sportsbook app, there's all these apps and stuff. The difference for me with the Barstool Sportsbook app is the Barstool exclusives. Picks and parlays from Big Cat, Dave, other personalities. You follow them, or you can fade them. It makes it so much fun. You follow them on social media. We all do. You see Dave's picks in the morning. You ride them or you fade them, and then it makes it just an amazing experience.
I mean, you can do that with us now. We've been doing our For the Cup bet. It's
That's
hit
right.
3 out of the 4 last times. It was, we've hit a plus 420, a plus 800, and a plus 825. We've got another one going this week. It's plus 250. Was this Thursday's show?
Yeah. So if you would, you hopefully you got in.
We've been talking a lot about it.
We've hit 3 out of the last 4. We've hit 2 in a row. And we're ready to go for 3 in a row, 4 out of the last 5. That would be an insane run. We also have a hole-in-one bet this week, so hopefully you got in on that. The Waste Management's an amazing event to be able to get some action on, so hopefully you got in. Also, there's other ways to bet, like daily odd boosts, live in-game bets, and move the line and teasers.
Just download the app. You're going to love it. You're going to get involved, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Download it today and create an account. $1,000 new player bonus. If your first bet loses, get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's an amazing offer.
That's incredible.
If you're making your first bet and it loses, you're getting up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Barstool Sportsbook. What an app. We are now very lucky to be once again joined by who I know Trent considers one of our favorite comedians of all time.
Yeah.
You've now entered that echelon of all time.
All time.
All time.
All right. I like
Nate
it.
Bargatze,
Thank you.
host of the Nate Land podcast, has a new special, Hello World, on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
A little callback to Tiger Woods with the name of the special, which I love.
Yeah. Because this is our peak. 43 comedian.
Is that what you think?
40s is usually when comedians. It's like 20s. I might have said it before. You either make it at 20 or 40, and no one really makes it in the middle. So you either got to go. You get lucky and get plucked out, or you grind it out.
It's probably, how long you been doing stand-up?
20 years.
It's probably better, and you can speak to this. Is it better to get, have your wave now than when you were in your 20s?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're going to choose. If I could choose, I'm not going to choose this. Not that I've had a bad career, but like your choices, you think, you're like, oh man, what if I blow up and you're immediately and you're whatever. But you're just in a better spot. You have a lot more experiences. Your stand up will be better if you wait. Like not that you choose to wait, but if it just takes the long time, the long route, your stand up is better.
Right, because and if you pop right when you're early, the downfall seems faster. When it pops in your 40s, it feels like the longevity is there.
Yeah, we have nothing to talk about. So when you're 20s, like you have really no experiences. Like you can, your first like chunk could be good or something, but you don't have a lot of stuff to kind of go off of. And then you just start not living a real life.
Right.
So then what you're talking about is like, you're just you're doing nothing that's normal.
Right.
And so if it takes longer, you're able to, like go do more stuff and go live a normal life, and you have a family and you have like, you do all these things. So I think you can talk about more stuff.
I've heard a lot of comedians say that early on they were imitating their favorite comedian. Did you have that same experience where you were just such a fan of this guy that you're probably so petrified when you're on stage that you just kind of go into this gear where it's like, I've watched this guy, maybe even subconsciously, you're not even consciously doing it, but you're kind of imitating someone that you were a huge fan of growing up.
Yeah. When you first do it, it's really that people like Brian Regan was someone that you would have to kind of be careful about watching, because you would kind of do his thing.
Yep.
When he tells a joke. And then David Tell's the big one for New York was you would catch yourself like I can't go watch Attell, because we'd always go watch him he'd do the last spot at the Cellar, so we'd always go watch him, and then you just end up kind of getting that rhythm, and then just your friends, like it'd be like me, Soder, Big J, like you kind of start sounding like each other. I've got some videos where I can tell my rhythm is like Big J or Kurt Metzger. They were the comics like that we were around a lot, and so just because you're friends, you just start talking, and then so you kind of end up doing that on stage. So you have to. It's not a bad thing when you first start, because it's like it is what it is. You're still so new to it, but you got to learn to be able to catch it, and like so you can like stop and get out of it, so you don't just because you take, like my buddy Giannis Papas used to say, like you take some essence. Like how you tell a joke is even more than even the joke is
right.
Like that's the part that's like kind of separates you. Otherwise, you're just you can be writing jokes. I mean, anybody could write jokes. It's the way you say it and the way you do it, and that's like your thing that you kind of find on your own. Your tempo, like your whatever it is, your rhythm, and that's what, like if someone takes that. It's like, I mean, you're almost taking like if someone can imitate it, it's like it's the key. You're taking the thing that's like, that's the part that's funny. So then, like Regan can say almost anything.
Yep.
But like he's earned the right in his thing in his career to get to that point. But it's like, that's him. And so if you take that, you now just sound like him. And then you're really skipping. It's not going to pay off. It's not going to pay off the way you want it to pay off.
Right. Your new special's so good. We saw you live on Long Island, I guess a couple months before you, I guess, filmed that.
Yeah.
It was really interesting to see like where you cleaned some things up and like how much more comfortable, or like, because it was at the time, it's just the best show that we had seen. And then you see it again when it comes out on special, how much better it is. Like, where do you find that, like, is there a specific time that on a tour where you're hitting your stride? Like, is there a certain amount of shows that you need to put on where you're like, all right, now it's time to put this on film?
It's like no exact moment, but you just kind of feel it. It's honestly, you start getting kind of tired of telling it. Like,
okay.
But it's not like you're tired. You want to get to the point where you can tell I'm about to get tired of telling it.
Yep.
And then that's about when you're kind of like, all right, like let's just put it on tape. And you want to come up with some new stuff, and you want to like kind of get out of it. So it's you can just feel it. I mean, we knew because we already had the date booked. So I knew I wanted to tape here. Funny enough, dude, I taped here. We stayed in this house.
No, you didn't.
Yes.
With all the shit in the backyard.
Yep.
I mean, the backyard's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was when I got this address, and then we figured out it was like, oh, we're coming. I didn't say anything, but when I walk in, like I was like, I asked for the trash can, but then I was like, well, I know where it's at. But we stayed. We were here for a week, so the special we taped it in Phoenix at the Celebrity Theater in the Round, and we were here awesome. We stayed in this house all week.
So when you put the address to come here, there's no way that you thought we were actually going to be here. That is
it was
crazy.
in his recent on
it was like my assistant gave me the address and then told me, my sister, and she was like, "This is the house we had," and so it was crazy because we pulled down the street and you just recognize some of the houses down there on the corner, and then we, it's like, I mean, I was here. I actually just put a video out of. I think it might be on my Instagram or Amazon did, but we have some behind the scenes stuff shot, and it's like I'm sitting on the couch upstairs.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. We stayed here. We played putt. Played. I watched. What games did we watch? A bunch of football games here, and we would pool. I was in. We were. I'm still trying to work out and stuff, but we set up in that because your backyard is crazy,
outrageous.
And then so we set up like a little obstacle course with weights and like did like a little run around, and you got your putt, you got your horseshoe, and
Is that pickleball court always here? Or did we put that up
I think
there?
that's always here.
Are you getting into the pickleball thing at all?
I've played it a couple times. I like it a lot. I just haven't played it a lot. Like, it seems fun. I met the guy, supposedly the number one guy. Like, I guess I didn't really meet him briefly. I walked around the Waste Management today, and he's the number one player. Like, they already have a ranking.
They do. It's very serious.
Yeah.
They call
Like,
it the fastest growing sport in
He's
America.
very into it. Frankie loves it.
I've been playing for a month.
The guy's got long hair, and he's
I've probably seen him on all these what is it?
Yeah.
The Dink pickleball. There's all these crazy
yeah, dude.
stuff.
That thing started popping up on my Instagram,
The Dink pickleball.
and it was so much that you were like, all right. I didn't even, I didn't even really. I think I went to pickleball once. I did it once, but I'm not talking about it a lot. And then that Dink thing kept showing, and you're like, and I thought, like, well, if I scroll past it quick enough, maybe Instagram will get the hint that, like, dude, I didn't like, I'm not saying nothing against pickleball,
yeah.
but I don't know if I need to see a commercial for it.
It's
like watching these
It
matches.
does take the hint the other way, Instagram, because if you you might be sort of interested in something, and if you pause for a little bit longer than you normally do, they're like, he's obsessed with this thing, so now we're just going to shove it down his throat.
I think
Yeah.
they know where your eyes go. You know, on the grid of like when like the explore page.
Yeah.
I'll sometimes try and beat it. I'll see something I really want to see, but I won't stop on it. I'll kind of keep scrolling, but I'll look in that top right as I'm scrolling up, so that they don't know that I stopped on it. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe on mine it's usually
try and beat it.
like a lovely lady
Right.
that they'll put up there, and it's
But I'll
just
try
like,
and beat it so that beat the system.
I don't think maybe, but it probably knows where your eyes are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's
It
the camera.
stays. It comes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, they're always listening. Like, that's a fact. I mean, we say that, I feel like, just to say it. But if you go to your phone and say, "Hey Siri, what's the weather?" It's just like right now, it's doing it. Right?
Yeah.
So how would it have known that I said those words unless it was constantly listening? You know what I'm
Because you
saying?
prompt it.
But
But it is always
it
listening.
needs to know that you said, "Hey Siri,"
Yeah.
so it has to always be on.
We just turned on
It's just
thousands
ready.
of phones.
It's ready all the time.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, no, it's a lot. I never, some of that you would think, because you're like, all right, what do I, if you're like, well, I'm not doing anything, like, I don't care.
Right.
Because there's, it's like you want your privacy and, but then it's when they started doing stuff, when they start tracking you with COVID, and like that was like, no one could wrap their head around like why it mattered until like that stuff.
Right.
And then it's like a conspiracy a little, but then you're
Right.
like, oh, y'all are like tracking people.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say like China or something. They like track, like you had it. If you knew, they're like, we can track it. And they do it like, they say it to you like nonchalant, like, no, well, we can just see where you're going. And some people are like, that's cool. That's great. So I'm always sick. You're like, yo, dude, that's weird. Like, they're going to just start cutting stuff off. I'm complaining about pickleball. And you're like, you wish you were only seeing pickleball. Like, that's, if you knew what that was doing, like, I mean, that's the least of your worries is pickleball.
Pickleball's has some. It's a funny culture because you go to these courts and it's mainly older people. Like like I'll be playing very, very competitively and seriously next to a group of 85-year-old women.
So is that who invented it, 85-year-old women?
They were the dominant age group prior to this new wave of, I guess, people that don't know how to really play tennis but want that like feel.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing in the comment sections of all like the tennis hardos being like, "There's no way this is a real sport. Go play tennis." And then people like me that can't play tennis because it's a little bit too difficult and I'm not fit enough. I love playing pickleball. So there's that.
Well, you can do in your driveway. Like,
Yeah.
you could really kind of place it anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I think it travels. You're not running all over the place.
You're not, but if you play with the right people, it's a workout.
Yeah.
It
Well, I
really
mean,
is.
and then
we
if
played against Larry Fitzgerald.
That's what I was gonna
and
say.
I couldn't even go to the
It's-
bathroom the next day.
Yeah, it's like it was a sport invented for 80-year-old women or men and women, and then a guy like Larry Fitzgerald picks it up after his career, and he's like, "This is going to be the thing that I play 3 hours a day, and I'm super competitive." And then he plays us, and it's
The lateral movement on that man is
We played him
Crazy.
2-on-1, and he
Not
just
to be
dusted
believed.
us.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
So when a guy like
Yeah.
that gets involved, it's like, well, I don't even. That's,
You just can't believe he can hit every shot. Like he can reach
he can do
everywhere.
everything. I just played with him in my the Pebble Beach Pro-Am.
Well, we were gonna get to that. That's
And then,
amazing that you
yeah.
played in that. By the way,
Yeah. I beat him.
he's
So
on a
I'm
losing
letting
streak.
everybody
then.
know that.
We beat him in the LPGA event.
Yeah.
He may not be a good golfer. I think he's.
He
Kind
might
of,
be a legit because they said
He's
like
duped us. I think.
Yeah, well, because that was the thing is they always acted like he was lying about his handicap, but I mean he was a 6 and I was a 7, but Aaron Rodgers they did for sure.
that one was.
All right, so AT&T Pro-Am,
Yeah.
you just played in it. The weather obviously was a main factor that went into this. This is your first time ever playing in this Pro-Am?
Yep.
Pebble Beach, Spyglass. I mean, what's your first take from, playing in this thing? It's iconic.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was the best thing I've ever. It's the dream. Like you'd always see it on TV, and then get into comedy, and then you're kind of just like, man, I hope I can do this. And being able to play in it was awesome. It was. I played with Webb Simpson. We had a great group. So I played with Webb, and then we got paired with Strillman and Larry Fitzgerald. And so they're the best. And so it's a group of just great people walking around talking. You're just in the ropes. And when you're playing, we got hit that weather real bad. Thursday, we were at MPCC. I mean, Bo Hostler was the group in front of us. And had to water the greens because the balls just wouldn't stop. My ball moved a couple times, but I would be like, should I mark it? And they're like, I mean, just, like there's a moment you're like, but why am I supposed to play by the rules? And they're like, I mean, kind of like, but don't be annoying. And like, and then you're also like, well, I don't want to bend down, like it moves it. That would be the most annoying part just when it like kind of does that.
Yeah.
And they have to like bend back down in the market again. And you're just like, I'm not bending back down. I was like, it's fine.
fine where it is.
It's where it is.
Yeah.
But the whole thing was awesome. Playing Pebble is the part that's the most crowd is at Pebble. And so when you're playing there and you got a pretty big crowd, kind of everywhere and around, it's everything that you like want it to be like, and it's a real round and like, you're like, these dudes are playing. And, so it was unreal. You got teed off on 16 and the cart path is right there. So when you're teeing off, I mean, you put your hat down, but a person's there.
Oh.
Like 12 people are just like, you could reach your hand out and touch them all because the tee box is so close.
Right.
Your sight lines are pretty. It was interesting to see that because you see it on TV, and I mean they are close, but they do a pretty good job. I mean you can look forward, and you're not. You could kind of see how if someone's walking in the distance, like and all this kind of stuff, you're like, yeah, I could see how that doesn't bother. You're looking at something above it or something.
Right.
But I mean, it is the best thing I've ever.
How did
I
you
love
play?
it. I played really good Thursday and Friday. Which was nice. Friday at Pebble. I mean, I like hit some horrible shots, but then hit some great shots. Made some great putts. Had a legit birdie on something. But Friday was real bad. Friday was like
That was at MPCC?
I mean, I'm sorry, Saturday Spyglass. Okay. Friday was Pebble. Spyglass was rough because it's just mentally, man. You're just kind of drained. Like you get to that point where you're like, what's the line? And you're like, I don't care. Like I'll give you a nice plumb bob. I'll go through a little bit of a plumb bob effort to be like, that's probably right. And I just putt to that.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not squatting down. I'm not, to see how much they mentally have to stay in it. Because I mean, I got there Sunday. I played 18 Monday. Like, I mean, I've been
You're like trying to live the life of a tour pro.
Yeah. They're not golfing as much as I was out there all day just playing. And so,
like Andy Bernard in the office when he had all the
oh yeah, and by the time and then Saturday comes, you're like, it's a tournament round. We're trying to make the cut, and I mean, you're just like, I don't even care, dude. Like some of the putts. Strillman read a lot of putts for me, and Paulie Webb's caddy, like he's awesome too, and all of them were. And they would read putts, and then Fitzgerald's caddy. He has a podcast, a caddy podcast, but. His name's Mikey something, but he read a lot of. He's done over 10,000 rounds out there.
Whoa.
And so this dude knows everything. And so it's a great grouping. And like, he was so good at reading putts specifically out there that even Strillman, after like the first time they said they played, Strillman was like, hey, can his caddy read for me? And he can. And so he can. And so, he read a lot of the putts because he just knows everything.
Right.
He knows. I mean, I was like, you should write a book. I mean, he has the podcast, but I was like, you should write a book about this.
So he's a full-time Pebble Beach resort caddy.
He works at all three and does it all. And then he's done all with Larry. So, I mean, he's won twice out there. But, I mean, he was reading Strillman, like, because it was just, and Strillman made the cut. He was on the cut line. And that last day, they said the amateurs didn't have to go play. And I wouldn't play because, I mean, I want to. But I didn't know if Larry would. Like, because the crowd wasn't allowed to walk around out there. We had 2.5 holes left because they had to do it Sunday.
Yep.
So it was like, I don't know if there's any reason, but Larry came out there. And part of me, they didn't say, but I figured, like, Strillman might need him out. You know, it's like, not that he needs him, but it's like, you got to make some big putts. And he did make the cut. But that guy was unreal.
How'd you fare on 7 at Pebble?
I hit, Larry he shanked it. And then I shanked it too, but I hit a rock, came back in the rough before the sand, and then got up and down. So it was a big up and down. And so I made par. I got up and down a lot. That was like my game. The good part of my game was I could kind of scramble.
Yeah.
I hit on 5, or there's the 7 and the par 5, and that par 3 right before. There's like a par 3, par 5, then par 3, 7.
Yeah.
So number 5. Number 5, was it? Yeah. No, 4. I'm sorry. Number 4, where it's kind of the short.
Yep.
And I hit in the bunker. And then they showed it on TV. Like I hit 7-iron, like 150 yards out of the bunker, and then got up and down from the bunker. So they were like, it was a birdie. But what no one saw was I hit the lip and it rolled back.
Oh.
And so I saved par. Still I was super excited about that. But everybody else, no one's paying attention to me that much that I could cheat.
Right.
You could cheat with the round going on that no one sees.
Right.
So that was an official score that was like birdie?
I mean, he's asking us. That's kind of like, he's like, well, we did, luckily Webb birdied it, so we did get a birdie for it. But, it was funny to be like, everybody's like, nice birdie. I was like, I don't know about.
Might as well.
I think he said it on TV, and I was like, we'll just let it, let it be a bird, dude. It was a bird,
How much of that do you think Aaron Rodgers was doing this weekend?
Well, he's just got they gave him a 10 handy. I mean, and he got paired with his guy, just made it into Corn Ferry. And I don't think he played terrible, but it was like +2. It's not like he was going crazy. That was like pretty not bad for what they were having to deal with. But I mean, being a 10 handicap, and I think he's a 3, and he hits it so far that, I mean, he was just, you're playing it for the whites. I mean, he's just going to get there.
Were there rumblings amongst the amateurs being like, this is outrageous?
Yeah, I said something to Larry about it, and then Larry was like, well, they figured like he just got off season, so like they're probably giving him a little more because he's not able to play. But I thought Larry was saying it because Larry was saying it like that's what he got to. So like I felt like there's
I think it's fair.
Yeah, Fitzgerald's like kind of like, what's he gonna do? Trash him? Like Fitzgerald's like, he doesn't mind the treatment. I mean, he might have gotten that treatment. So he's like, nah, I just been having just got done playing.
That's not how the handicap system works. If you don't play golf, like it doesn't matter. That's on you.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think I've been doing? Do you think I've been just like grinding it out, dude? Like,
like this guy's had a really tough year playing for the Packers this year. Like, we should make sure he gets.
He's been on the road. Like it's no
I've been on the road. I'm grinding it out. Rogers doesn't even fall down anymore. Like he steps back. I go, come on. He's been
works 1 day a week.
1 day a week. Exactly.
Great point.
Yeah, that is a good point.
It's nuts.
He has to go out Thursday to Sunday
No.
in a bus. Like, welcome to my world.
Is that what your schedule was like this year?
A lot of times, yeah, because you leave Wednesday night and then you'll be in a different city every night. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday, and then you just drive back home.
And you still love the grind of that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is our peak. So this is
right
43. This is as a comics peak.
Riggs just got back from a mini golf tournament.
What's up, buddy?
He's here later than us because, we should have one, right? Or do you have a mic? He made it to the finals. We didn't make the cut.
Right,
we
so
just
we had a big
mini golf
Barstool
tournament.
mini golf tournament about 20 minutes from here.
Yeah.
And
Very intense. We had a
16 people, and 8 people made the cut. We did not make the cut. Riggs did make the cut. I think Kirk Minahan ended up winning.
Did you
it.
win? Oh, you did not win.
What's your mini golf skills like? You play much mini golf?
Not much. I like it,
Yeah.
but I think it's very fun. Like I try to do it on the road if we can, but I don't get to do it much.
Trent Daddy, today is Thursday. We're going to the Waste Management Open, the Phoenix Open. What are we going to be doing that's a huge moment in our lives?
So we've been talking about this for a long time, but they are unveiling our 2K characters.
PGA Tour 2K23. We announced this a couple months ago. Actually, that guy Mark Burns on Twitter announced this a couple months ago that we would have a partnership with PGA Tour 2K23, the video game, and that we were going to be in it. Barstool Golf was going to have merchandise, and the personalities from the podcast and the brand are going to be in the game as playable characters. It was the craziest thing we had ever heard. It's actually happening today. As you guys are listening to this, we are on site at Waste Management, seeing our characters for the first time, being able to play with our characters for the first time. We're extremely excited. You can play 2K is an amazing game because you can play as Trent Ryan or you can play as Tiger Woods. That's a wild world we're living in.
It's quite a range.
I cannot wait to see accessibility and realistic gameplay via 3-click play, course designer, accuracy of physics, and shot types. The game's incredibly realistic. If you swing too fast, you top the ball off the tee. If you swing too slow, you kind of chunk it when on a pitching shot. It's an amazing game. It's frustrating at times, but that's because it's realistic.
But there's nothing better than hitting a great shot. It's just like real golf.
Dude, in the old games, it was like if you hit a bad shot, you felt like you had to restart because it was so hard to hit a bad shot.
Yep.
Now, when you hit a good shot, the feeling of success and excitement just completely overtakes you. You're like, I did it. It feels like real golf. You're like, I'm chasing that feeling now. Oh my God, I hit a fade around this green, around this fairway, and then it just missed a tree, and I hit it on the back of the green. Now I'm chipping, and I'm choosing the flop shot. It's an amazingly realistic game, so make sure you try PGA Tour 2K23. I'm not sure when our players are going to be available, but we do know that we're going to find out today. So that's exciting. Buy PGA Tour 2K23 now at pgatour.2k.com/2k23/buy/. All right, we're back after adding Riggs' mic.
Sorry to interrupt the show.
That's
No,
okay.
that's okay.
You're on the show.
Sorry to interrupt the show. Hi,
No,
Nate.
thanks for coming, buddy. Good.
How
to
are
see
you?
Good, man.
I'm devastated. Yeah. I just melted down in the back nine in a major tournament. It sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna talk about the group you guys were in.
What do you mean?
What happened?
I mean, I played horrible.
It was Trent, myself, Danny Rappaport, and Hannah Cook. 3 of us who play golf the most at Barstool. We missed the cut in a mini golf tournament. It's just a hard
Blow up hole or something?
I mean,
No, I got
a couple.
screwed all day, and I'm
Four?
not saying I'm.
4 is a blow up hole.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
it was
mini
bad.
golf?
It was bad.
No, you could make some high numbers
I
pretty
made
easily.
I made a 7.
I made 2 6s and finished third.
Wow.
So it's like
Problem
you
is
could
that
blow
there
up.
were a couple holes that had automatic hole-in-one opportunities, and you kind of got obsessed with that. And then the negative side to going for it was like an 8. You can make an 8.
Yeah.
And I did that a couple times where it was like, why did I even go for that? Just get the 2. It's almost like in real golf, like, do I go for this or do I just play it safe and just take the par? Or am I going to go for birdie here?
Putt-putt's tough to play safe. Because, I mean, what are we even doing?
Right.
You know?
It's like I'm
There's
going
like
to lay
a
up on
fake-
this.
We had 25,000 people watching live just now.
Oh,
was
that's
like,
crazy.
It was a little bit
Yeah.
different than just like, you had to play it a little safe.
No, he's right
Yeah.
though.
But there was a
Like,
cut. There was a
we're
cut
here-
line.
Yeah, but he's like, no, but he's saying like we're here. Like it's not real golf. It's mini golf.
Yeah.
Like
You
Kirk won $15,000 today.
Bro, like
true.
basically 30.
$30,000.
Because I mean, he so Dave put a $15,000 free play for whoever wins.
Whatever
so it's
bet
either
you want.
30 or nothing.
Yeah.
It's basically
Dude, it could
what
be
is.
100 if he wants to place a plus.
You want
whatever.
to do something? Yeah, if you hit the for the
Can't
cup
do that
bet,
math,
yeah,
but-
yeah. Did you play today?
No, I walked around Waste Management.
First time here? Or you been here?
Yeah, it's first time.
Get this. He stayed in this house. He shot a special out here, and he stayed in this exact house when he stayed out here.
Shut up.
Yeah, I swear.
This year.
this year. Well, in October.
Or yeah.
Did it look better or worse than it looks now?
You know, we did come into it and looked around. You know, about the same amount of dudes. Very dude heavy.
Yep.
But no, I haven't gone everywhere. But
upstairs is a mess.
Yeah, I'll get to lay the land.
Yeah.
But yeah, this place was great.
I'm just sad.
As you should be.
I was 2 off the lead on the 11th hole in the second round, and I had all the momentum. I had everything. I had the honor, and I just lost focus for a second. Hit one out of bounds. Hit another one out of bounds. Made a 5, and then I hit Hannah Cook at one point. I was not happy about it.
I saw that.
How'd you go out of bounds? Like it just bounced over the.
Yeah. It was bad luck twice, but yeah, I mean, if you hit
what would you do in tournament play if it's up against the rail?
One putter head length.
Yeah.
But you're still kind of screwed because you do that like push.
Yeah,
putt.
I'm always pretty loose with that when I play alone.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a more, you know, it's like 2 off the tee.
That
You're like, just kick it and play a little bit.
Right. That was the tough part about it being on camera, where because I'm the same way. But when a lot of people are watching, they're going to catch you. We actually had one of our guys, Danny Rapp, who was just here. He thought he made a 4 on a hole.
Oh yeah.
And we had a viewer call in watching the
What
broadcast.
25,000 people.
They were like, he actually made a 5.
He actually made a 5.
And we had to go back through, and he actually did make a 5.
Wow.
So, I mean, we don't. That rule is, you know, it's been controversial in the actual world of golf, but it works out for a mini golf tournament when it's instant feedback.
Yeah.
But
that's amazing.
That was amazing. They're like, he actually made a 5. He was arguing for a second. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I did."
He did make a 5.
What do you think of Arizona?
I like it. Arizona's great. Yeah, I've been here.
Is it too dry? Do you get dehydrated at all?
Yeah. Do I look dehydrated? I feel like you're asking me.
No, the only reason is because when I return, I live here, but when I return here, you look a little dehydrated. I think
I got a big water. I did bring a big water. The more you look at it, you're like, "Did you play golf today?" I'm like, "What's on my face?" And it's like you're
dust covered face.
Come out of nowhere and just start going like, "You doing all right, man?" And you're like, I gained a little bit after the special. I'm just getting after it, dude.
I just sometimes when I return to this place, I wake up in the middle of the night and you like can't even breathe because it's like
I got
so
a little
dry.
bloody nose today, and I just now realized what that was. It was just dry as hell out here.
Yes, I felt that actually my special because we're out here because you're out here too long, and so if I shot another special here, I wouldn't come out as long because I was like by the time the special came around, my voice was, you know, you're just a little like you feel a little bit because it's so dry that you're like, God. So I do know what you mean by that.
Do you hike?
Yeah, we hiked yesterday.
Where'd you hike?
It doesn't matter. You know, I thought that when I hiked, like, what is it? If I said it, would it even matter?
And not said it, but I guess like was it like
a mountain? There was a mountain.
Was it like a picnic?
No. It was a real one.
It's one of his best bits is the mountain going up.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
Is this enough?
But I thought that with hiking because everybody goes, "What was it?" And I don't think anybody will. I don't think I've ever even able to say it. And if I said it, they go, "That's a good one." It's all just like okay. They go okay.
Thank you for the information.
Yeah. What does it? There's one we did in Vail, I think Vail, Colorado, but it's steps. So it's like over 2,000 steps.
Is that
just
a climb?
Straight up.
Is that a climb or
mountain.
a hike?
That's just a walking up steps.
Okay.
Like literally and it's like wood, you know, like railroad, and you just like, and people do it 7 times a day. They go up and down, and I mean those people had tree trunk legs.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy.
That's just what they do. They get up, and I mean, we got past. Like, I mean, the dude ran up, came back down, and went back up again. And I mean, we were like, it was brutal.
You play any golf out here this week?
Not this week. I got to leave. I got to go to Vegas. I'm doing Vegas, so I just came in.
I saw you in Vegas a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
it was a great time. It
was a fun time, man.
Same venue, different venue.
Same venue. Win.
What do you do material wise? You still?
I've turned over some. I'll have to go through it. I'll get a gauge. I was like, you put all new material because it's like that is honestly the plan.
Right.
And then I think I could do it. I might have to do a little greatest hits from this just till I can get it completely turned over. I don't have a closer yet. That's the only problem.
Wait, so how much? So you just put out the new hour, and then how much new stuff do you have?
I mean, I've done 45 minutes to 70 minutes of new stuff. Some stuff I did on the last tour, but it's not on the special. I kind of pulled it off the special, and so I'm still like messing with it. But overall, it's like I'll do 45 that I feel okay with.
When you're working stuff out, I heard Louis talk about this on a pod recently, where he said like he'll just show up to a place in New York City and like do 20, 30 minutes, and he feels bad sometimes that those people, they see Louis C.K. up there and they're like, this is going to be the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life, but he's working out completely new, like not good jokes that he knows that aren't good. Have you ever felt that like fear of being like, oh, I'm not giving them like the Nate that they like came to see because I'm working things out?
Yeah, you get worried about it because you want them to. I mean, you're up there, so you're supposed to put on a show, and so you want it to be as good as it can be. And if you have something new, it's like it just might not be.
Right.
New York, I mean, at least think they kind of get the idea of that. Like I went to Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa Beach, and I did like 4 shows there, trying to work on some new stuff. But I think the audience kind of liked it because I mean I really brought out my notebook and like really went through stuff, and so there is a part that people do like to be a part of that process, like see you like fix stuff and try new stuff and just see what happens. And some nights it can change. I mean, some nights it'd be easily. I did 70 minutes one night, and one night it was like 45, and you're like, just that much of a chunk is like. Just like where did that go? You know, you just it's tough to come up with stuff. But especially now people are coming out. They know you. They're there for a reason. So it's like before you're kind of under the radar. No one really knows you or anything. So it's like you can kind of get away with a little bit more. And now it's like, I have people that travel to multiple. I met a caddy last week that has been to like 20 shows. Wow. And so you're just kind of like, oh, like people are willing to go. I'm doing Red Rocks. And so like a lot of people travel to that Vegas. Like some of these big ones, people will make a trip out of it and go see you. So
do you feel like that almost like you don't get like a true gauge for how your material is doing because they just love you no matter what you say? Like if it's only for specific Nate Bargatze fans? You
can figure out, you just got to be super aware of it. So it's, I'm real big about awareness, and like I think it's very important to have awareness. A lot of people don't, but you got to be aware that I can tell when the laugh is like, when I go out and they're super excited and the laughs are big, it's because they want to have fun. But even though there's other laughs, I got to be able to tell the difference between the laughs. Like this one's it's more, so I know that joke really works. Versus that was a laugh, but I don't want that to be the laugh. The laugh should be bigger than that. I mean, that's like with anything. Like you guys, all the awareness of like the access you have to all the golf. Like you have to be aware that like remind yourself constantly that like this is crazy. Mm-hmm. I can't believe I'm getting to do this. And remind, because otherwise you start taking for granted, and then you just kind of do it, and then you're going to do stuff that everybody wants to go do. And so if you don't appreciate it, it shows.
Right.
And that's why you guys do so good, because people generally like can see that you're excited to do it, and that goes a long way. You
can sense a shit laugh.
Yeah.
Is there a place that's the hardest place to get a genuine like laugh?
A laugh.
Or environment? Is there a certain environment where you're like
outdoors? Outdoors is tough. It's just tough to hear them. Anything outdoors where like I feel like you want the crowd to be relaxed, but they can't have too much freedom in a weird way. Like that's why a theater indoors is good, because they're at least having to like pay attention. And if anything gets too deep of a room, or they're too far away from you, you can kind of lose that. Like you could see people kind of like they feel like they can talk, or they can feel, because they're just almost too far from you. So
getting phone calls. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Very unprofessional of me.
So is it
just talked about awareness.
I know, it's unbelievable.
literally
He just said it.
you're like still saying
Yeah.
it.
2 minutes. Yeah, he's still on part of
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
appreciate it.
It's like that part of what he was saying.
Everybody
not over.
home's like, oh, these guys don't care.
Is that
We're aware you might be dehydrated.
I own this house, so I hope you're enjoying it. That's why I agreed to do this. I was like, yeah,
Just check on him.
let's see what's going on with this thing.
is this stadium then for that reason known as
Yeah, stadium would be
way harder? Or
Yeah, it would just be a void. I think you would get. I want to do some arenas, and I'm excited about that. I mean, those are big. Those are big milestones. So you want. I think when you go do them, if people will come to the arenas, it's a giant thing to be in this arena. My career is built completely off people that watch me, like that come to these shows. I don't have a career without them. So like when we do it, there's this a success that I hope that they feel that it's kind of all of us. It's not like it's just me. It's like all of them that come to these shows are the reasons I'm here. So those moments I think will be big moments and be very awesome and special moments. But I don't think you could go, it's like, well, I'm going to just do arenas for the next 10 years. Like you're going to, there is just not going to be the best experience. It's good to go do them, and then it's good to go back to like the proper settings that they should be in.
Yeah, I heard I forget who it was, a comedian said it recently where like if you're doing arenas, you're kind of doing that for you because it's kind of like, look at this, I can do an arena. That's pretty sweet. But like you're saying, it's not the most conducive atmosphere for comedy. That's probably smaller theaters.
You go
or
like,
clubs.
I wanted to be able to do the Garden someday.
That's
like, so like, and I think the audience that comes to see you wants you to do the Garden. Like they want the validation that like they ain't been following some just slub the whole time. That's like, you know, you're like, you do want to do it, but it's like, you can take some, and I believe audiences they are willing to go with you, and then you have to be able to go back to be like, now we did it, they're a part of it too, now we can go back and do places that are going to be, you know, more fitting and like a better experience.
So crazy. I never thought of the journey of a comedian. It's very similar to what we deal with, and we always ask like, why do people care when we go to a tournament and all we do is fist bump Tiger Woods and it gets 3 million views and people are congratulating us? It's like he does that to a fan all the time when he walks from the tee box to the green. But like where you're saying, they watched these guys blogging 10 years ago, and like they feel like they're touching Tiger Woods, even though it's through, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never really thought about that, but it's so true. Like, I mean, we've been watching you forever. We were just watching a clip of when you were talking about your daughter when she was 2, taking her to Disneyland.
Yeah.
And now we're watching you hopefully one day in Madison Square Garden. It is that same rise of like, holy shit, Nate's there now. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I never put that pairing together of like that journey.
Well, it is that made when I remember when you guys met Tiger, and it is because it's like you mean Tiger is all of us mean Tiger,
Right.
And so it's not like, you know, out of like Michael Phelps, because I saw him. I'm just naming someone, or it's not something that's like them mean Tiger, where you're like, it's a regular dude that you somehow figured a way to get to that level. I thought, once y'all met Tiger, I thought this would be over. Honestly, I thought,
We kind of thought that
Probably
too.
should have been. Really.
should have been over.
Yeah.
You know?
That would have been a hell of a send off.
Yeah, just because you met Tiger.
The next week, there's no podcast, no videos.
Yeah.
People are just
I go back to, I was a
People
security
understand.
guard.
People would understand it. They would get it. And they go, those guys were real dudes. They met Tiger, and then
They had a goal.
Ended.
They achieved it, and it was over.
Yeah.
You know how much more proud of everything we've done I would be if we did it that way.
Right, because it's, you know, everything else is good. We got a lot of phone going off. Everything else is good, but it's not as good as that.
Yeah.
Never will. Maybe never
But
will
y'all
be.
have kept it. But now everybody's like, you got TaylorMade. You got like, it's still like the journey of you guys getting into the golf world where everybody knows you, like, is still very fun to watch.
Is Madison Square Garden, is that it for you? That's the kind of the...
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know if it definitely would be crazy. So I'm doing Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, and that's a big one.
Yeah.
But Madison Square Garden, just because it is Madison Square Garden, and I was in New York, I started in New York, and like, so it's just the one that everybody knows. There's not like a...
How do you get to that point? I mean, how do you sit down with your team one day and be like, I think we could book Madison Square Garden and sell the tickets, or what?
Some is you do it with you kind of there's like agents and stuff. They have a there's somewhat a formula how they do it. So you go into a city, and like last time I did the town hall. Then I think y'all can do town hall, but town hall. Then I did Beacon, and then usually it's Radio City after that, and then after that would be the Garden. And so like you kind of go. Now someone can skip a step, someone can do things, you can do whatever, but that's usually there's a plot, and so you just kind of it's comedy. You sell out comedy club in New York. All right, we sold out a whole weekend in New York. Now next time I come through, we're going to do town hall. Try to do 2 shows. We did 2 shows. Now we do Beacon. We did 2 nights, 2 shows of Beacon. And then you just kind of slowly start doing that, and you see what they do. Where Red Rocks is, I just found it out yesterday, but Red Rocks is sold out, and it's in May. And so, that's like 9,000 people. And so,
hell, man.
Then now you're looking at, all right, we did 9,000 in Red Rocks. So now, what is their arena size? The arenas is you kind of go do the big arena. You will go do some. And some arena settings are, because there's not a lot of in-between settings. So I was talking about going to arenas, but some of them are, and you have the screens and stuff, but it's that helps a lot to have a screen. Even if you're in a 2,000 seat place, it would help to have a screen just so you can see the person's face.
Yeah.
But it's that you kind of build up to do it, and then maybe when you go back, you can go back and do. Someone might go all right, I'm gonna go to the Seinfeld's at the Beacon. It's all right, just go do the Beacon, go do 5 shows or whatever, and then you just do it like that. You know, so it's a slow, just selling tickets. We did Phoenix when we did the Celebrity Theater. We did 4 shows there. I don't know if there's a venue above that. There might be. I love that place though because it's in the round. But maybe it's some of the bigger markets, like the big cities, you could be all right, maybe you do make a arena run to be it's kind of all right, I did the arenas, and then in a couple years, you just next time you come through, you're just well, I'll do arena this place, but I'm going to go back to this place.
Right.
And,
Shane's doing Mullet Arena, right? Here this week.
Bert.
Oh, Bert is.
Bert is. Shane's on the show.
Oh.
What Bert's doing is, I don't know, but I think he's probably the number 1 touring comedian. The amount of tickets he's doing 4 of them. That's like a hockey arena. We're going to that after this. I believe it's a hockey arena. I guess I don't know.
It's the Arizona State hockey arena, but the Coyotes play there now.
Okay,
because they had
he's doing 4 of those. So hockey arenas are big. That's your kind of in between that you do go do a lot.
This
of
one's
shows
small
in.
though, by the way. I think it's only 3,000 seats.
No, it's not that.
5,000.
It's not that impressive.
Not that. Never mind. I take back everything.
I had to let you know that before you.
So
really,
if it's 5,000, so it's 20,000.
Right. Nuts.
And so you could easily do the arena here. Hockey arenas is kind of the middle where you end up doing a lot of hockey arenas because they're 5,000 seats and because sometimes you can't go to a place and sit there for a week, and so but hockey arenas are usually a good balance where the seats are all pretty good and you have the big screens.
Yeah.
Instead of being arena where you're at the very tip top or whatever. But what Bert's doing and the amount of tickets he's selling is it's unreal, dude. He built it and all that. You know what it comes from? It's the same reason that people listen to you guys because Bert loves his fans that come out. His fans are him. That's what sells the tickets. If you feel the person doesn't like their audience, people can tell, and people are just I like this guy.
Yeah.
But Bert's not that, and that's what Bert is doing. Is Bert is selling the amount of tickets he's selling is unreal.
And you see, he follows Instagram, and he's just on that stage with that stadium picture behind him. He's at
the
TD
Boston,
Garden.
Yeah.
And you're just
you're seeing that all it's you got to go do that.
Yeah.
And those people, and they love that.
Right.
They and they want to be there. It's a party. It's a fun time. It's the environment. It's an accomplishment that you're all kind of in on it. And people generally when you're with Bert, you're dude, that dude's working. That dude worked to get to that level, and he put in all the work. That was and it's wildly impressive.
You're giving me the chills waiting for you to get to MSG. I'll be knocking on that door waiting to get into that arena to watch you.
We'll be looking for free tickets for that for sure.
Cash
no. I'll purchase those.
No.
Yeah. I'll purchase.
I'm gonna give everybody tickets but you, Frankie. You'd be but I bought mine. You're alone. You're at the
Do
top
not let that guy
alone.
in.
He said he's gonna buy them.
We're about to get into From the Gallery with Nate Bargatze. It's brought to you by our friends at TaylorMade. To celebrate the launch of the Stealth 2, we are giving away 2 prizes to 2 different followers. Prizes include a grand prize of a Stealth 2 driver and Stealth 2 hybrid or one Stealth fairway wood or hybrid. So you're actually going to get 2 clubs for winning this. Now through March 1st, go to TaylorMadeGolf.com/Barstool Sweeps to enter and celebrate the launch that combine the elements of distance and forgiveness to unlock Fargiveness. Click the link in the YouTube description or go to TaylorMade.com/Barstool Sweeps right now for your chance to win and make this golf season better by filling your bag with the best. Of course, that's TaylorMade. We got to get into a From the Gallery from our friends here at TaylorMade. I had a couple questions that I went through. A bunch of people have always submitted some hypotheticals relating to golf, and one of them was, how big would the golf hole have to be for you to win a major in radius?
How big would what?
The golf hole, just for you.
Oh.
The pros play the regular hole.
Oh, they have to play the regular hole?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to look at so you need it to be a circle. What are you supposed to be in? 20 feet? Maybe 20. You should be landing in 20. I mean, yeah,
if it's a 5-foot radius hole, are you winning the Masters?
I don't know. It's
5 feet wide, 5 feet deep, so it doesn't really bounce out. You got to get a ladder to get in and everything, but
I don't know, because you got to.
Dude, you're chipping in everything.
You're
one-putting every single hole.
Yeah.
You may even hit a couple from 175 yards and
you
just
might
rolls
have a
it.
hole in one. Yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah, that's a good
that's
point.
only 5 feet. We agree on. I mean, 5 feet.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna think the Masters 5 feet. I think you have the best chance because I think that tournament you're in play a lot and could get it there. The U.S. Open, I think, with the rough and everything, might take you several shots to get to the point where you finally can make it even on the 5. Many shots.
You got to go out sideways.
Chip it out sideways.
You always have
and
to
then
go out sideways.
All right, but let's say that's like a 1 or 2 stroke difference compared to how you usually play because you're an amateur. You have to deal with all this pro rough. The U.S. Open's insane. You're still gaining that stroke back on the green because you're putting to a 5-foot hole.
You are, but I just think dude, some of the U.S. Open holes, right? There's 500-yard par 4. Fairways unbelievable there. You hit a shit drive. You slice when it goes 220 way right. It hits a tree, comes down. You're buried in the rough. You chip out. You still don't even necessarily chip into the fairway. You're still now 200-something yards out or whatever in the rough, kind of.
Yeah.
You hit another shit shot. Now you're up there hitting your 4th, and you're not in a spot where you can just chip it in up there. It's you're in gnarly stuff.
Right.
I just think that's every hole. So
Just think how much you miss when you do a chip. Even putt, how much you miss it by 5 because it's only be 2.5 feet, right, on one side.
Yes.
So it would. I mean, you rarely have one skate right by.
Yeah, but the thing would be you could just hit it really hard right at it.
Yeah, but I mean, still 2.5 feet is still. I don't even know if I have it go
2.5 feet on either.
Right. It really speaks to our putting.
Yeah.
How well are you reading the green if you can't even get it within 2.5 feet?
I
where
think
you
a
it's
5-foot
supposed to
hole
go?
on a green would look like a crater hit the ground. That's a hole.
What's a normal hole?
It's
4 feet.
It's like
I want to say it's is it
8 inches?
no? It's
No.
3.5. 3.
Yeah.
I'm so bad with that shit.
I think it's. My guess is it's just under 4.
I was gonna say close to 4.
I think it's 4.25.
Doubled it.
Okay, 4.25 inches. So we're talking
That's gonna be a big hole.
a huge hole. I still do. We don't hit the ball nearly.
No, dude. I mean, you're right that the Masters is the best chance, but I still
think.
think probably
I win the
think
Masters with a 5-foot radius.
You got to play the tips too.
Yeah, I
Yep.
win it. I win the Masters.
With 5 feet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of water at the Masters.
Oh yeah. I would almost say 10. You'd almost 10 would be. You're gonna then really make some. 5, I think, would be.
10
5 is gonna be tighter than you. You're gonna. You're gonna have some stuff be the way a ball goes around a circle. It just could be 2.5 feet is. You got to be up there and it rolls by. And then you're just going to it's going to be tough.
Augusta greens are insane.
You try to laser one on the 13th hole at it on the green, you miss it, just goes in Ray's Creek.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, you got to go back over.
Yeah. You got to play it safe.
I'm with Frank. I think a 5-foot hole, I win. I think I win.
I'd be more comfortable with 7 if we're doing it. 10 is a lot, but maybe 7.
You ever played one of those courses with a way bigger hole? I had a great. We had.
Are there courses with way bigger holes? Is that
not a course? I'm sorry.
munis.
Sometimes in like charity events and stuff, they'll do one hole where they'll make it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a 2-foot wide hole or something like that. And one time we were playing a match up at Granite Links, and we had played in the afternoon. We had no idea there was an event that day. In the morning, it's a drivable par 4, and my buddy hits it up there to like 20 feet off the tee. Everybody's like, "Oh, great shot, good one." And the other guys all kind of hit it short, and they chip it up there. And they're like pretty close. They got some birdie putts, and he's got like a 20-foot of regal. And we finally get up over and see the hole's like 2 feet wide. And he's like, "Oh, let's go." And he just buries it in the 2 feet wide hole. And they're like,
Boom.
"This is bullshit."
That's real.
They're like, "You're not going to make an eagle putt. We were going to make birdie." And he's like, "I'm sorry, boys." He just made it from 20 feet.
On the practice greens at this place we play, Rockville Links, they actually have a really small
It's the
hole.
size of the ball. You ever
That's
see
the
those?
size of the
really?
ball. So it helps you practice.
practice
So
on
when you get out
those?
there, it looks like a 5-foot hole.
Hole 1, it feels gaping.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you ever swung one of those, those fans that you can swing?
Yes.
They have one of the, I've played the course, and they had one that, like, just right by the first tee. And I swung it, but you don't think about it. And then you go swing your club, and you're like, well, I shouldn't have done that at all. Like, I got to get my feel back to, you just feel like you're just yanking
You
your
decided to
club.
do something prior to the first tee that you've never done before.
Yeah.
You've
And it's
given
messing with your
a new-
perception, yeah.
You've given your brain a new
Yeah.
thing that it has to worry about now.
Yeah, nice. What's this do?
Right.
Just yank it the first, because you're way off.
Oh yeah.
Is it possible for you to be good at golf but be inconsistent? He says, it feels like I hear it occasionally, but I'd argue consistency is so integral to golf that doesn't even make sense.
You can be so consistent in your inconsistency. I wonder if you can, like, just if you own it and you just know, like, maybe you can wrap your head around it.
But you know how people, like, I'll sometimes say, like, I feel I'm good at golf, but I like my scoring is inconsistent. I guess his point's like, if you're consistently inconsistent, you're just not good at golf.
But your inconsistent would be, for them, I would say that you could argue that they are the most consistent in their inconsistency. That's what they have a miss. That's like when somebody get asked, "What's your miss?" It's everything. I don't know what my miss is. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to tell you. Like, it tends to go right to. It's also snap hooks. Right. This all happens every round. Like, I can't just go like, there's room over there, so my miss is like, it's
bad shot. My miss is bad shot.
Yeah, I've got to top it and go grab it in front of the tee. Right. I don't have a miss. I'm not, it's like it just goes where it goes. I can see there could be times where I guess you're like, I guess it could go too much right, but it's like, there's almost my inconsistency is just all over the planet. So I don't even know how to play for it.
Like an instructor will ask you that. They're giving you like a quick little look.
Yeah.
Like, so what's your tendency to on your miss? And you're like, well, it's like either it's a top, a slice, a duck hook out of bounds.
Yeah.
And they're like, so it's just bad. Like,
They're like, what's your ball flight? All of it?
Yeah.
All of it.
Right. We're not consistent enough to have a miss that we know about.
We were at the Kingdom for TaylorMade getting club fittings for the new Stealth 2 and all this stuff and showing off their new gear. And they hooked us up to one of the TrackMans with the full swing monitors. And my fitter was like, he was perplexed as to why I wasn't giving him a consistent like reading on like the spin of my ball. He's like, well, that one was 1200 and your next one was 3800. So he goes, we got to do something here. And I was just looking at him being like, they're
the same swings to me.
He goes, can you get this one closer to 5,000 RPMs? And I said, how? And then he gave me a lesson on like how to try and do that. So it's so true where it's like there is no constant for us.
If you knew, because I want to get good enough to have a miss,
Right.
Because then you could play for that for sure. Like, here at Phoenix, the 17 with the water right there, where you're like, all right, I want to either go straight or I'm going to really go right, and I know I'm not going to go left. Like, if you had the confidence of that, but I know that like I can line up, I can make a ball go right. Sometimes it means I go straight left because it just goes down my line, and so then it's going to go right in the water. So then my other miss is a straight shot that I have to walk away from. I probably aimed over there, wasn't I? Like that's what you just have to say that you're aimed right there. Yeah.
Right, because they say the best golfers, they eliminate half of the golf course because they know what their shot shape is. But with us, the whole golf course is in play. You can just go
Everything's
anywhere.
in play.
Yeah, that same fitting, Frankie, was like I was with the new Stealth too, and they tweak it and give you a new shaft and hand it to me, and I hit one, and he's like, "Oh, the spin's way too high. Like, give me that thing. Let me look at it." And I just kind of raised my hand. I was just like, "That, I mean, that's me. Like, that's not
right."
You realize it has nothing to do with the driver.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Right.
They tighten something on the.
It's like, let's hit at least 2 before we start bringing out the wrenches.
What are you looking at? The
Well, dude, when I
phenomenal
did
piece
one of the
technology for
one
me?
of the new putters, I attempted one putt and he just grabbed it from me. He goes, let me see that. And then I saw him adjust 9 different weights the other way. So it was just the worst putt he's ever seen where he knew immediately, nope, we got to change everything.
But also your next one, if you would hit it again with the same specs,
It did actually change.
but if you would hit it again with the same without him
Oh,
hitting the
it
wrench,
might have
it would have
been
been different, right?
right. So it's
Right.
like, what's he actually
See,
changing?
that's what I'm like. You should give me 10 swings with
Yeah.
every one
Yeah.
that you do, and you can't watch one swing panic. And then I'm like, no. If I actually put a good swing on it, this might be the perfect setup.
Yeah.
So it's that part I just don't understand. You know,
What's your biggest pet peeve on the golf course?
Yeah, I could have some good ones. I'm trying to think. I mean, besides like slow play or something,
Like we'll sometimes say,
too
like,
fast to play can be annoying.
yeah.
yeah,
Like,
I agree with
where
that.
it's like, I mean, I want to play fast, but you're like, it should be the group should be like, when you play with you guys that like, you kind of know what you're doing. You're all just kind of.
What do you think the average number of times a yardage is said on a par 3 tee? So somebody goes up there, they laser it, and they go, "Oh, it's 163."
Probably 3 times average.
Easy.
I think it's 3 to 5. And then
'Cause you don't
somebody's
hear
not
it.
paying attention. One guy's on their phone.
Because there's always that one guy who's like,
It's
what's the
that
number?
you
What guy
have like
forgets?
a hand on 2 clubs and you're looking. You're like, what was that again?
163.
Well, even too, sometimes like if you have someone that doesn't know any of the lingo and you're like 65 and they're like 65 yards. And you're like, no, it's 160. It's 165 yards. Like that, like when they're
65
yards.
Yeah.
So are we playing a mini golf
Yeah.
course? 65.
92. 92 yards. You tell me that's only 92 yards away. You're like, no. Yeah, sorry. They don't-
I bet it's 4.
Yeah.
Around 4.
My guess would be 4.
I like 3
Yeah.
because I think it takes. Maybe I could see 4 could be a one's under your breath a little.
Yeah.
Who catches it, catches it. 2 is your real announcement of
It's never
it.
been one.
One is the to yourself. 2 is the real announcement.
Got to catch 2.
3's for the one guy. 4 for maybe the last guy that's still at the cart.
I think it gets up to 5 or 6. You get a guy
I
that's
would-
pissing.
Yeah.
You get a guy that forgets, right? So he's like, is 163? Like, yeah. And then he's like, dude, about that, you're right. That Jimmy the other night at dinner was outrageous. And then he goes back to the bag and is like, what was it again?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And you're like, fuck.
63. There's. I would say writing the score down at the hole. That could be a pet peeve. I don't like that.
Really?
Yeah, it's like go to the next tee and do it. Get out of the way because if there's a group behind you, if it is slow, whatever, it's like because you can see people
Yep.
just get over there and it's like they got a game, they're doing something, and it's like oh, you got bam, yeah.
Right,
Two,
you're
also
behind-
the gambling in golf. It's like I like to gamble in golf, but I'm sorry I didn't grow up on a course and know every single people are just saying to like Wolf like this. Like
you don't know
you're
Sticky
like,
Pops 45?
Yeah,
It's
you're like,
what
no,
are you
dude,
talking
I
about?
don't. Like, what do you do? Is this your, and I don't think they even know.
Right.
I think a lot of times they don't know.
It's like,
But the gambling is kind of like, explain it a little bit more.
it's a form of bullying.
Yes.
When they're just they're like, I know more than you do about this thing.
Yeah, Nassau, 1 pop on each side. It's like, what are we talking about?
What are we talking about, dude? How many pops you get?
Riggs knows the games.
I do, but I'm with you. I've never liked the complicated games.
Right.
I'm a big fan of like a Nassau. or something.
Yeah.
Front, back, overall. You can press if you
Nassau's
like.
a tough one too because it sounds crazy, and then people are like, "You don't know Nassau," and you're like, "Dude, I don't." Is it like it's the Bahamas, right? Isn't Nassau like that's all I think about? And then I'm like, I don't know.
Don't you?
I
Live
don't.
in
No one's
Nassau
ever
County?
explained
Yeah,
it.
I live in Nassau.
Yeah, no one ever. They just kind of call it Nassau, and then you go, okay. I always get confused with best ball too. I know it now, but sometimes we go, we play best ball, and I'm like, I'd like to play my own ball. And then I don't know what. Or someone like they make it sound like you go play a scramble, and you're like, I don't want to play a scramble. I want to play my own score.
My dad still gets that mixed up to this day.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so you guys played best ball with, whatever, John Rahm. I'm like, no, we played a scramble. He's like, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
Still didn't
Yeah,
click.
yeah.
Right there.
it's
Dude, we mess up. Like it gets tricky with the Barstool Classic because we play teams of 2.
yeah.
But it's technically that format when they play in the Ryder Cup when you play 2 against 2, but it's whoever makes the best ball of the team. They call that 4-ball.
Yeah.
And so we call the format for the Classic technically 4-ball, but it's a team of 2.
So is it 2-ball?
So it's like I don't know. And I'm like, it's 4-ball. And they're like, oh, so we bring a team of 4. I'm like, well, no, it's you 2 of you playing, but the format's called 4-ball.
Yeah.
So you tell them best ball, and then like he said, you might get 20% of population. It's like, oh, best ball.
Try and put 2-ball on the thing next year and be like, see
like
what the
2-ball.
response is.
Feels like a billiards
Dude
game.
comes in 10 under. They just play
Yeah.
scramble the whole day.
Yeah.
So it's best
so
ball.
I think that happens in some
For
tournaments.
sure.
Is like you're like best ball and someone comes in, you like everybody shoots like maybe 60s or something. Someone's got a 58, 54, and you're like, y'all played best ball? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, they played a scramble. Like,
They were scrambling out
Dude,
there.
remember
Yeah.
that crazy controversy at that one club that we put it on our Instagram?
Yeah.
There people were screaming on the patio. A group came in at like a 49 or something like
But
that.
it was
And
a scramble.
It was a scramble, and they were just holding up the trophy being like, we did it. And everyone's like, you easily took ones on
They
it.
got booed.
there was
The country club.
Yeah, they got booed off.
yeah.
They got booed out.
There was
of
another video of that with fishing.
Oh yeah,
Did you
Yeah,
see
they
the
were-
fishing
the
one?
weights in it.
They put weights in the fish.
They put weights in every single one of those fish.
Yeah.
They didn't
And
just
the
try
one
and cheat
guy
one of them.
who did it just stood there and took it, and they're like, "What do you have to say for yourself?" And he was
The
just
voices in the background were hilarious. They're like, they've been doing this for years.
Like, one guy, somebody says, "Call the police." They're like, "Call the cops,"
I think they won like $500,000 over the stretch
because
that
they had
they've
been doing it at all these tournaments. Apparently, that video's incredible.
Yeah, you don't think about like someone being. It's not a bad place to be a crook, because it's such a weird niche that like no one's even knows what's going on for the money to be that high.
Right. It's not doping at the Olympics.
Yeah,
It's where it's like that's a grand stage. Like, yeah, like I watched that video and I was like, I don't fully understand what's going on, but it
Yeah.
seems like people are
You
upset.
should catch a heavier fish, right? That's just the whole thing.
but then they had weights in it, so
Right.
each fish weighed so much more.
They were also putting like chicken breasts in there and other fish.
I think they've done it. They've won before, and they just finally got caught.
I think that's what it was.
It's a wild move.
I mean, like, do they not just eat the fish or something afterwards? Like, I would think they would. How do you not like? Where does the fish go? I guess you take them home.
For competition fish, you mean?
Yeah.
That's a
no
good
idea.
question.
I don't know if you eat them after you put chicken breasts in them. Or
They
weights.
could. Rabies?
Weights.
Oh, wait.
No, but he's saying wouldn't they have been discovered before? Because if they eat
What would gravy
if they eat the fish afterwards, they would have found the weight. People would they had weights in
Yeah.
their teeth.
I was just thinking the people that caught them would be the same people that take them home and eat them.
Yeah, like they.
So
you're
they were
allowed
the
to-
ones with
yeah.
the weights.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So they're at home. Yeah.
They're
I
at
don't know how
home
you
like,
don't-
let's get our weights
I don't know
back.
how you don't have a big fish fry after you have a big
Right.
Right.
like fishing competition. I would think that's part of it.
Or that's how you test each other. You eat the other competitor's fish, and you're like, there were weights in this one, so those guys are
Yeah,
disqualified.
like in old times where it's like you would drink the guy's, wine or something first, make sure it's not poison.
It's not poison. That's interesting.
That's not a bad idea. That's really not a bad idea.
You don't
You
do
don't
anything like fishing, right? You don't do any manly
No, I'm
stuff
not
like
a
that.
big. I enjoy it, but I'm not. I was never. We never really big fisher or hunting people or stuff like that. I think I want to get into it though.
You ever build anything? Are you handy?
No, my wife is. I'm
Got
not.
such good bits
I
about
almost-
that in their special.
yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, my
So
wife is the one that does
relatable.
all that stuff.
I can't. I'm not very handy either.
Yeah, I wish there's sometimes I think I want to work on a car. Like I'd be like, I'd like to know how to do some
I
things.
think you can just YouTube stuff now.
You really can. I
do
thought
I-
about going back to school.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that just because you're going to be bored?
No, I don't even have time for it. But it just like you just want to go learn. I should be learning something. I don't know anything. Like the book stuff. I know I do other stuff, but like the book stuff.
You hear a lot
that's
about the book stuff.
Yeah, the book stuff. Those people. They're
But
the ones that they use
You can
big
just
words.
read books.
Yeah, but I mean, I know, but I'm doing a joke about that. I don't think I know how to read either. There's a way of reading that I don't think I'm good at it. It's hard to pay attention to a book.
Yeah, you just space out.
I mean, hard. Yeah, hard. And I want to read a book.
You just can't do it.
I
God, what did I
want
just
to.
read? Shit.
Just read, dude. Just read this book and remember it and just be like, but you know, it is what it is.
I
you
feel
know?
that way
Did you
about
see that one font that came out a couple of months ago that it was like a couple words were bold?
Dyslexia. Yeah, I think I could have dyslexia, so that's a big.
No, but you were able to read it because
Yeah.
of the way it was spaced.
Yeah.
It was like remember that?
I do remember. I
And
forget
you
what
could,
it's
you
called.
could read a full paragraph in like 10 seconds.
It leads your eyes. They bold it in a way where it grabs your eyes and it pulls it, and you can read a page like 3 times faster. Than
I heard you might be able to buy books like that, so there you go.
Oh yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
What's the other one? It's like as long as the first and last letter of a word are in proper order where they're supposed to be, and all the other letters are the same, that you can read the words.
Yes,
Something like that.
you can find those things. You can find images of it where it's all jumbled, but if you just start going, you can read all of it.
Yeah, you can read them all.
Your
They don't
brain
need to
just
be in the right
figures
order.
it out.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty interesting.
Did y'all go to college?
No.
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 I mean, I went to Nassau Community College.
I went to college.
Where'd
I
you go
didn't-
to, where?
Oh, yeah. Was this a setup?
No.
Do you know where you went to college?
Ask him.
I went to
Where'd you
Harvard.
go?
I went to Harvard.
Oh. Yeah, that's right. I think I
We
did
got to
know
deal
that.
with this all the time.
I think you.
Yeah.
What are we dealing with? It's just
You graduated, or
Yeah.
and you do this?
That's usually the surprising part.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is great, though. We're talking to
Yeah.
you.
It is.
Sitting in
You
this
feel like
base-
kind of a mess to go to Harvard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you like proper
No.
there? You were a mess
I
there.
was a recruited athlete, very different than being,
Yeah.
one who gains
Yeah.
admittance on their,
Yeah.
on
When
their merits of their
when
academics.
when you committed to go there, did you know that your life was going to be like this? And I don't mean your profession, but I mean the way people perceive that university.
No.
Okay,
But when you commit, you're also, 17 years
right.
old.
You don't have a brain
So you don't really have
anyway.
much of a perception or anything, but you think very much up to that point in your life, this is like I've achieved the most that you could achieve.
That's true.
17 years old.
What did you play?
Hockey.
Hockey.
So you think of like this is it. This is
True.
now what I do with it from here is and you have this like, oh, if I go to Harvard and I study really hard, I can then like follow this rat race path
Yeah.
better than others, and I can have a
Drive cross country, found the girl that broke your heart.
Was there a second you thought maybe he played golf there?
I don't think so.
I saw you
maybe
wrapping
I
your
had.
brain around it. being
Well,
how
I
could
was
he be
like,
this bad?
there's a moment of like, if
No
he played
way.
golf at Harvard and he's what I've seen,
exactly.
it's like just like kind of like, dude, he lost it like hard.
Yeah. Chuck
What
Knobloch.
happened to his
And
brain?
then hockey, I was not thinking about. I was like baseball, football. I was kind of like going through that. I didn't see hockey coming.
Yeah, I
That
think
makes
anyone
sense.
who's watched me golf and then they see me play hockey are very surprised.
Yeah, I think it makes sense now though.
Okay,
Like it makes
that's good.
I could see
I like to make sense.
like it makes sense that you played hockey. I was like the McDavid or David, the hockey, the big
McDavid.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, he's unreal, right?
Outrageous.
So that's like the new. He's going to be the next.
Yeah,
He is it already.
He's it right
He's
now.
doing things that no one have even come close to
Yeah,
since Gretzky, but he probably won't surpass Gretzky's numbers because
they're
he
too
plays in
far.
such a different league now
Yeah, Ovechkin is going to,
for goals, yeah.
which is crazy that
Yeah.
he did it.
So you don't attend many
goals.
hockey games in Nashville?
I've been to some, but not a ton. I mean, Nashville's got a great fan base.
They do.
And we do it. I think I can get it. Watching the World Cup. My brother's really into soccer and like watches everything. And then So I'm trying to get into more. I enjoyed watching soccer. It's actually pretty soothing to watch. Like I kind of like not the scoring all the time because it's like every other sport is just like, and so it's just kind of like this flow that you're kind of watching, and then it's a very exciting kind of thing. And then so when I go to hockey, it's hard for me to really watch it on TV, but like being there is unreal. But I do enjoy. It's it's like the back and forth and the fact that, like, I see the interest in not scoring all the time because it can be a lot.
Yeah.
I watched like the Bronze last night. Like it's 120 to something and you're like, I don't care.
I agree with that. I like when the scoring feels really important.
Yeah.
Soccer is the best for that.
Yes.
They build up to it when they score. It feels like they never get to accomplish this thing and they did it and people go nuts for it. It's great.
When you were at Harvard, did you have the grade? You had the grades to get in there, or is it kind of like
grades?
Was the classes so crazy though, where you're like,
it depends what you took. It's like we kind of, because of being on the hockey team, come in as a freshman. Obviously, you got seniors, juniors that have been through it all and through the ringer, and they tell you like, hey, if you want a cakewalk and just focus on hockey and take easy classes, these are the classes. So you can find that once you're in for sure. Yeah. But others that are like economics majors and such, I mean, you got to take these high level econ stats classes, and the people you're being matched up or paired up against or judged against when they grade are valedictorians of their schools. And then there's us, the hockey guys. It's like trying to scrape your way through it. So I was a sociology major. We like wrote papers about sociology. I mean, it was, you could do it relatively easily once you got in.
I like that there's classes even at Harvard that are like, these are the easy classes.
And it's very professor and like TA based. You'd find a professor that's very, empathetic to athletes. And then there's others that are totally think every athlete is a sham, that they don't deserve to be there. Yeah. And you learn about who those professors are. And if you take that class, they're going to hold you to an insanely high standard. They don't give a shit if you're on the road. Whereas you'd have others that would be incredibly catering to what you had to do. So you try to like navigate your way through with the easier shit if you wanted. Other people took it incredibly
because they looked bad. Yeah.
But then your life would be, I mean, those people are the people that probably could have got it on their own too, that were superhumans that could be really good, whatever, on the hockey team and took school incredibly seriously. And then they're going to get their doctorate after. And we were kind of like, holy fuck, we got into Harvard. Let's just try to get through it and play the sport.
Yeah. You got to be like one of the more regular people that have been to Harvard.
The athletes were pretty, thank you. The athletes were pretty, especially the sports, like the hockey culture, I feel like in general, hockey were pretty like humble, normal people that play hockey. Yeah. And like baseball guys were that way. The football guys were very much that way. It felt like a lot of the dudes were just pretty normal dudes. Lax bros were kind of hit or miss. I feel like lacrosse culture is a little bit more kind of.
Did you play lacrosse?
Never played lacrosse.
I don't know if that was like general moves of hockey or something.
It's a similar.
You guys
game.
are good with
It's
sticks.
definitely a similar. Yeah, it was similar kind of hand-eye and game and like strategy and stuff. I think it's actually pretty similar, but
like if someone just throws you a ball, you're like, you like don't know how to catch it. You're like, I don't know. You just need something in your hand to like beat it.
I don't catch well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah.
I drop stuff when it's thrown my way.
He does drop a lot of stuff
all the time.
He does. True.
I miss trash cans from close distance very frequently.
You just can't have the object of the game near your hands.
It needs to be that right.
It needs to be.
Right.
You need a middleman.
Bad bowler.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrible bowler.
Bad ping pong player.
Why is this ball so close to me?
Ping pong, you should be good
Get it
at.
away from me.
You don't like balls near you. Is what we're
Get it
You
away
don't
from
like balls near you.
Right.
No, they need to be at arms and then
Arms,
object length.
Yeah.
Arm plus object length.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty good.
Then unbelievable.
I'm not bad.
Come on.
But you get like a driver, that's too far.
Yeah.
Driver in my
You don't know
hand.
how far out we go.
Wedge and a putter's nice. They're short.
Yeah.
Driver too long.
Yeah.
Baseball, I'm terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Remember me trying to swing a baseball bat?
I remember. We remember.
It's tough.
We took batting practice at a minor league park, and he wasn't that good at it.
Shockingly bad because you keep saying to yourself like Harvard athlete.
That was
He'll
terrible.
think it through.
Nothing.
I wanted to be
It
good.
was shocking.
Yeah.
Swings and misses. It was on a pitching machine. It was going right down the middle. But good hockey player.
Thank you. What other sports you play?
I played baseball, basketball, little football, not much. Basketball is probably my best. I was not bad at baseball, but I mean, in relative terms of, some kids were just so much bigger. I never took it serious. I wish I would have taken golf more serious when I was younger, but golf was not as, just wasn't around.
Wasn't cool till pretty recently.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a thing that you could go do, and I wish I would have done that
Yeah.
more. Not that I could have done anything with it, but at least even now, just to be a better player already would be.
We were talking to Ryan Whitney, who does Spit and Chicklets podcast today, at the mini golf about that, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm bummed when I went out with my dad as a kid and played golf. I just found it so boring. It's like I wasn't that into it after." A few holes, I'd suck. I'd hit some bad shots. I'd be like, let's just go do something that's more interactive, where you know, or reactionary or whatever. You can just run at people or skate at people. I'm with you. I feel like as a kid, if you would have just locked in more on golf, it's impossible to learn it now.
We did a podcast with Padraig Harrington recently, and he was talking about how like that's the struggle of a parent to make golf cool at a very young age for the children. He was saying like he'll bring like his kids out and make sure that like, even if it's only 3 or 4 holes, like once they like are done, you leave. Like it's just whenever their attention span doesn't want it anymore, you leave, so that they leave with like a really good feeling in the back of their head. And then he would always pair it with like giving them an ice cream in the clubhouse, so that they knew it always ended with something that they can remember was like unbelievable, like ice cream with a cherry on top.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool, because like if you try and make them sit through an 18-hole round of golf on a hot day with like 2 random people in another cart, and you know, you're apologizing for them a lot of the times. Be like, oh, like they're just learning. Sorry. It's just like a very cold entry into a pretty brutal sport in that aspect. You know what I mean?
That's the game. It goes to the gambling aspect, like that, like the lingo and
It's
people
a lot.
just talking. It's a lot, and you can be made to feel dumb very quickly.
Right.
I remember my dad used to like because he's just a regular guy. We used to like hop the fence to go play golf at like a public golf course, and he'd be like apologizing to the guys, being like, "Hey, we're just trying to learn the game out here." And like that's a weird like, whoa.
Yeah, and the person doesn't feel happy. You know,
Like, I was like, oh, you don't have like I don't have to bring me out here anymore. It's like I can learn in the backyard or something. You know what I mean? It's like, so yeah, we definitely have to change that. I think it is changing though.
I think
it's changing.
Top
too.
golf is huge for that.
Top golf will be the biggest thing probably,
Just getting
because
balls
anybody
hitting
can,
balls.
yeah,
It's the only way you
anybody
get
can
better.
go do it.
It's the only way you get better, hitting balls.
And it doesn't matter how you hit it. No one's really caring.
There's a bar,
that kind of stuff. Yeah,
You bring
That's
someone
big.
to Top Golf that's never played golf before, you can even tell after a couple games they start to get it.
Mm.
So
You can also blade one into like the
yeah,
the little point circles, and it's like, cha-ching! You get like plus 30. You're like, okay, that's
Yeah.
great.
when you see the videos of people like
They fall into the
pirouetting
nets.
into the netting.
Yeah, that's still kind of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not recommended, but
I know we got to get you that. You're going to that show tonight, right?
yeah,
That'll be fun.
yeah. I'm excited. It's fun to go to a comedy show like when you're not
Yeah,
doing it and just kind of seeing. I don't know what they do, what's going on.
judging them.
There could be some. I'm not judging with Bert. There could be times you definitely judge. Sometimes you can go and be like, you want to see like, are you doing your full act? Are you doing? Is there a sideshow going on that I don't whatever it is. With Bert, I'm truly not. Anybody that like. It's like anything. The longer you're in something, the longer I respect of being able to stay in it is just so crazy. I talked to, I was saying I do Ryan Moore today. They got True Golf, this stuff, but like Ryan's been around. He's 40, so he's been around for a long time. Like, and you see those golfers like Ryan, where you're like, you know how hard it is to stay on tour at that age and be out there every week. That's what's making the tour, is like those guys are the guys that are, it was with Kevin Strillman, and you're like, these guys that are unreal and great, but maybe not everybody knows exactly who they are or whatever. All the golfers, we know who they are, but just, they've stayed out there. They've made a lot of money, and they've had to stay up to a high level, because you can have people come and go. And then the ones that just stay through it, they're there and they can do it for a long time. It's impressive, because longevity is not easy. It's a hard thing to do, to consistently to do something, consistently be inconsistent.
To do anything that long.
To do anything for that long.
And do it well, yeah.
And have enough where people want to keep coming back is not easy.
Yeah, we talked to Pat Perez about that a couple years ago.
Yeah, he talks a lot about
He's
that.
like, I've been doing this thing for 20 years, like making money playing golf. So you know how freaking hard that is? It's insane.
John Rahm was talking to us about Pat Perez last week.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, that guy, like, he was against Liv and saying he's that. And then they made him an offer where he was like, dude, I've been doing this for 20 or 25 years. I've been getting my card year after year after year. It's really hard. And all of a sudden, I just don't have to do any of that. And I get this offer that's X amount of money more than I could make. I'm doing that.
Yeah, there's no reason you wouldn't.
Right.
I don't think anybody, I have no ill will to, and I think anybody that's reasonable doesn't. Yeah, why would you not do that? I mean, that's the dream, you know?
It's the awareness thing. Like the people that are anti it so hard are just trying to fight something just for no reason.
Yeah.
Like that's there's reasons behind why people are mad about it, obviously. But let the people that are in charge like fight that out. Like I'm not going to go cancel
Well, they're trying to get it with the audience.
Pat Perez because
and so they're trying to have the audience be like, but like you're using the people that watch your sport as your like
right
thing, your bait, or you're like trying to be like, you're giving them this bad mouth when you're like, you know, if it's about the money thing, you're like, well, our government, I think PGA probably, like, there's a lot of, you're all like, it's all these, you're trying to make less sympathize with like a corporation.
Right.
And you're like a billion, trillion, whatever it is, corporation. You're trying to make us be like, I'm sorry. Like, feel like, and that's the part that feels gross. You're like, don't make me mad at Phil Mickelson, like, or Pat Perez. Like, they're just dudes, dude. Like, it's not the dude. The people are never the problem. It's going to be whatever argument they might have, right or wrong, whatever it is. Like, keep it. Y'all can do that on your own.
Right.
We're just trying to go. You'll walk around waste management. They don't care.
Right.
That whoever is out. Zach Johnson, was he, or is he PGA?
He's PGA.
Oh yeah. But like whoever, like, you just see them, like, you know, then they're splitting them up and they're like, well, you can't play over it. You're like, nobody cares.
The only time they care is when they start getting sued.
Mm-hmm.
They were starting to get sued.
Yeah, they didn't like that part.
Patrick Reed was just throwing out subpoenas on Christmas Eve to people.
Yeah.
Wild move.
Yeah. Just get it out there. Get ahead of it. Yeah.
Didn't he sue like CNN for like $800 million?
Well, he's suing Brandel for $1 billion.
$1 billion. $1 billion.
$1
I think he did loop CNN into that.
Yeah.
didn't
He said he wanted $1 billion. He's
one
like,
of the anchors or something, maybe.
I feel
It'll be
I've
funny
been-
if you find out like who his lawyer, you're like, who's your lawyer? And he goes, it's me. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, it would all make sense then. Like, you're like,
Got it.
All right. Now,
Yeah.
okay.
Like I
Because
took
I was like, I don't even know who's talking you into this. And then you're like, he goes, I'm doing everything. I'm talking.
He's at his printer. He's printing out everything.
Printing everything out. He goes, I wrote it out. I wrote in how much.
Serving subpoenas.
Brand, I want $1
He's
billion.
He's like, $1 billion? Let's do $10 billion.
Yeah.
He's writing it down. He's excited.
And if you're, was it Brandel, right? Yeah, if you're him, there's got to be a little bit like, dude, they can't get this right. Like, you know, even though it's such a crazy amount, you have to go, right? Like, he's not going to win this, right? Like, I mean, it's $1 billion. You're like, I don't like, you're just you're the opposite of leaving generational wealth is you're going to have 200 years of your family's like, we're paying what off? And the Reed family is just dominant, dude. Like, they just are sitting at the top. And he goes, I just put a number out there. I put a number out. He goes, what does it even matter? I didn't know it would work. Why would it work? What am I even suing? I don't even know. $1 billion.
Did it.
generational debt.
Generational debt. Just
Didn't see coming.
God, I mean, you got to be where you're 8. If you're in the Shamble family, it's like 8 years old. We start working. We work hard. We're trying to get out of this Patrick Reed family debt. And Reed's family's now back together because they're billionaires. And like, they're just, and we see their family as like, what a great family. Like, you're just like, they are who you want to be. It's the shambles.
Boy. Woo. That was great.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, we appreciate you stopping by, man,
Yeah,
as
man.
always.
I always love it.
Thanks for the time.
Yeah,
Make sure
dude,
you go
thank
check it out. Hello World. It's amazing. Congratulations again. Amazon
Thank you.
Prime. Go watch it. And are you doing shows like as of right now? You're still
Yeah.
touring?
I'm in Vegas this
You're in
weekend.
Vegas this weekend.
On tour, Be Funny tour. We're going to Europe.
Whoa.
March. And then more dates will be announced. We'll be touring all year. So
Awesome, man.
you can check them out on my website.
Awesome.
Amazing. Congrats.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Appreciate the
You
time.
guys.
Thank
See
you.
ya.